Did you know a secret council from the Orion constellation has been manipulating Earth for millennia? And their plan, once shrouded in mystery, is now being revealed by a former insider. This presentation will uncover the Orion Council's long-term agenda and expose the hidden forces shaping our reality. But who exactly are the members of this alleged Orion Council? Within UFO and conspiracy circles, the Orion Council is often described as a cabal of extraterrestrial beings originating from star systems within the Orion constellation. Said to include both reptilian and humanoid species, these beings are believed to have established a clandestine presence on Earth thousands of years ago, subtly influencing human events to further their own agenda. Certain channeled materials, such as the Law of One, speak of Orion entities as negative forces seeking to control and manipulate humanity through fear, deception, and the imposition of hierarchical social structures. According to these sources, the Orion Council's influence can be traced back to ancient times, with claims that they were responsible for engineering wars, fostering religious dogma, and suppressing spiritual knowledge. They sought to establish a global system of control that would ultimately serve their interests. Why should anyone be concerned about the machinations of the Orion Council? The implications of their alleged plan are far-reaching. If their agenda is to control humanity, then the potential consequences include a loss of individual freedom, the exploitation of Earth's resources, and spiritual enslavement. In contrast, many believe humanity is on the cusp of achieving a higher state of consciousness, a shift that could be thwarted by the Orion Council's interference. The stakes are high, with the future of human civilization hanging in the balance. Alleged insider testimonies from individuals claiming to have worked within secret space programs further corroborate the existence of the Orion Council. These whistleblowers speak of covert agreements between human governments and Orion entities, claiming that advanced technologies were exchanged for access to Earth resources and the tacit acceptance of their agenda. Contactee accounts, while often dismissed as fantasy, also provide a consistent narrative of Orion beings seeking to manipulate human consciousness. These accounts, combined with fringe science theories about mind control and scalar wave technology, paint a disturbing picture of a hidden war being waged for the soul of humanity. Many are already familiar with various conspiracy theories, such as the existence of reptilian overlords, the machinations of the New World Order, and ancient astronaut theories. These concepts, while often dismissed as fringe, provide a framework for understanding the Orion Council's alleged plan. Is it possible that these theories are merely pieces of a larger puzzle, fragments of a hidden truth that has been deliberately suppressed for centuries? What role do suppressed technologies play in the Orion Council's overall strategy? Could technologies like scalar wave devices, mind control systems, and advanced surveillance networks be used to manipulate human thought and behavior on a global scale? It is speculated that the Orion Council has deliberately suppressed technologies that could empower humanity, such as free energy devices, in order to maintain their control. But what exactly is the Orion Council's plan for Earth, and what are its implications for humanity's future? To understand the full scope of their agenda, we need to examine the insiders' shocking testimony and analyze the historical events they claim were orchestrated by the Orion Council. Did you know that your thoughts and emotions are not entirely your own, but are subtly influenced by an alien agenda stretching back millennia? The core of the Orion Council's plan is not merely physical or political manipulation, but a deep assault on the very nature of human consciousness. Humanity unknowingly serves as a resource, much like in the Matrix, but with deeper esoteric and spiritual dimensions. The insider's testimony unveils how we are being subtly directed to create a reality aligned with the Orion Council's desires, a startling intention previously unknown to most. According to the Insider, a credible source with direct knowledge of the Orion Council's operations, the Orion Council views Earth as a farm for consciousness energy, similar to how humans raise livestock for food. This energy, a vital life force to them, is harvested through negative emotions like fear, anger, and despair. Global events, often seemingly random or tragic, serve to amplify these emotions, creating a consistent stream of energy that these beings feed upon. The Insider, who claims to have worked within a classified black project, had access to documents detailing the Council's long-term strategies and resource allocation plans. He said, "The Orion Council sees humanity as a resource to be cultivated and harvested. Our emotional energy, particularly the negative spectrum, is their primary source of sustenance." The consciousness farm concept echoes through ancient myths and esoteric traditions, describing entities that feed off human energy. In Sumerian mythology, the Anunnaki demanded tribute and sacrifice from humanity to sustain their power. Similarly, in various pantheons, gods or demons require human worship to maintain their vitality. Esoteric concepts like lush, a term describing the vibrational energy of human emotions, provide a framework for understanding how human emotions can be seen as a resource. While direct scientific proof may be elusive, the Insider's testimony, combined with these mythological parallels, provides compelling circumstantial evidence. Is the prevalence of negativity in our world a deliberate strategy to harvest human consciousness? Consider modern society's obsession with negativity in the media and the resulting emotional toll on individuals. But how does the Orion Council maintain control over this consciousness farm, ensuring a consistent harvest of energy? What technologies are they using to manipulate human thoughts and emotions on a global scale? According to the Insider, the Orion Council uses advanced technology to manipulate human emotions and beliefs, influencing everything from political opinions to consumer choices. These technologies, often cloaked in secrecy and misdirection, operate on subtle levels, bypassing conscious awareness and directly affecting the subconscious mind. He stated, "They use electromagnetic frequencies, subliminal messaging, and virtual reality simulations to subtly influence human behavior. These technologies are constantly refined and deployed on a global scale. Specific technologies like electromagnetic frequencies can be used to subtly influence brainwave patterns, while subliminal messaging, embedded in media and advertising, can bypass conscious awareness and implant suggestions directly into the subconscious mind. Virtual reality simulations, increasingly sophisticated, offer immersive experiences that can shape perceptions and beliefs. Existing research confirms the effects of media and advertising on the human psyche. Could these technologies be weaponized for mass manipulation? The ability to influence emotions and beliefs leads to the question of the ultimate goal of this manipulation. What resources are they after? And why is humanity such a crucial component of their grand scheme? The Insider revealed that the Orion Council's focus extends beyond mere emotional energy. They seek control over Earth's resources, both physical and energetic, as a means of maintaining their power and influence across multiple dimensions. He emphasized that the Orion Council is focused on controlling Earth's resources, both physical and energetic, as a means of maintaining their power and influence. They manipulate events to ensure their continued access to these resources. Think of wars, economic crises, and even natural disasters. The Insider claims these events are often orchestrated or exploited to maintain control of resources. Control of these resources translates directly into control over human populations. What if the Orion Council is manipulating global events to deplete Earth's resources and enslave humanity? If the Orion Council is manipulating global events and controlling Earth's resources, how do they maintain secrecy and prevent humanity from discovering their plan? The answer, according to the insider, lies in infiltration. The insider stated that the Orion Council has infiltrated key positions of power in governments, financial institutions, religious organizations, and media outlets. This infiltration, spanning centuries, allows them to control the narrative, suppress dissenting voices, and advance their agenda from within. He stated, "They have infiltrated key positions of power in governments, financial institutions, religious organizations, and media outlets. This allows them to control the narrative and suppress knowledge." The insidious nature of this infiltration makes it difficult to detect and resist. Consider historical figures or organizations that may be unknowingly or knowingly serving the Orion Council's agenda. Could this infiltration explain various societal problems and injustices? Perhaps the Orion Council is using these infiltrated institutions to suppress knowledge and control the narrative. With their plan now unveiled and infiltration confirmed, what are the long-term implications of the Orion Council's agenda, and is there any hope for humanity to resist their influence? So, we've learned the Orion Council's plan for Earth is a consciousness farm. Their use of technology manipulates human emotions and beliefs. Their control of Earth's resources maintains control, and their infiltration of key positions of power facilitates their agenda. These elements work together, serving the Orion Council's agenda. The insider's testimony, while lacking direct scientific proof, offers a chilling glimpse into a hidden reality. Are you now more aware of these subtle manipulations? Can humanity break free from the Orion Council's control and reclaim its sovereignty, or are we destined to remain a resource to be harvested? Did you know that the Orion Council's ultimate goal isn't just to control Earth's resources, but to control your very soul? The core of their plan extends beyond physical domination. It's a systematic effort to stifle humanity's spiritual evolution and sever our connection to a higher cosmic awareness. This reveals that humanity is not just a source of labor or raw materials, but also a source of spiritual energy to them. Their agenda is a spiritual harvesting, aiming to prevent humanity from reaching its full potential and awakening to its true nature. By repressing spiritual capabilities, a sleeping humanity becomes far easier to control than an awake one. They actively influence the collective consciousness to create a reality favorable to their dominion, an insidious manipulation operating on a level most humans are entirely unaware of. The insider states that the Orion Council actively suppresses spiritual knowledge and abilities through the manipulation of religious institutions and the promotion of materialism. Certain religious doctrines were deliberately altered to disconnect humanity from a direct connection to the divine, replacing direct experience with dogma and ritual. Materialism and consumerism were also deliberately engineered to distract humanity from their spiritual nature, focusing their attention on external possessions rather than internal growth. We see a chilling example of this in the burning of the Library of Alexandria, a catastrophic loss of ancient knowledge that set humanity back centuries. The suppression of Gnostic texts, which emphasized direct spiritual experience, further illustrates this agenda. According to the insider, humanity's spiritual power is the greatest threat to the Orion Council's agenda. This suppression of spiritual knowledge and abilities can be understood as a form of spiritual warfare, where different forces are vying for control of human consciousness and spiritual evolution. The suppression connects to the idea of archons or negative entities described in Gnostic texts, which seek to keep humanity in a state of ignorance and prevent them from realizing their divine potential. This creates an environment where genuine spiritual insights are dismissed as fantasy, while materialistic pursuits are elevated as the ultimate goal. However, the potential remains for humanity to awaken from this spiritual slumber and reclaim its inherent spiritual abilities, such as intuition, psychic abilities, and conscious creation. While some may argue that these ideas are based on esoteric concepts and personal experiences, and that we should therefore dismiss the claims of the insider, many believe that these ideas resonate with the modern emphasis on materialism and the devaluing of spiritual pursuits. Could the Orion Council be using these systems to keep humanity trapped in a cycle of spiritual amnesia? If the Orion Council is suppressing spiritual knowledge and manipulating belief systems, what other methods are they using to control human consciousness? Could they be creating false realities to trap human souls? The insider claims the Orion Council is using advanced simulation technology to create false realities designed to trap human souls in a cycle of reincarnation and spiritual amnesia. This technology, far beyond anything currently known to mainstream science, can project elaborate virtual realities that mimic the physical world, making it incredibly difficult for souls to discern the true nature of reality. These simulations are designed to keep souls trapped in a loop of repeated experiences, preventing them from evolving and ascending to higher dimensions. The insider was saying, they have perfected the art of creating believable realities, where souls are recycled repeatedly, never realizing their true potential, and they continue to generate the emotional energy the Council feeds upon. It is important to note at this point that the concept of simulated reality echoes throughout history. This advanced simulation concept connects to concepts like the Matrix or the Hindu concept of Maya, which describes the world as an illusion. These aren't just philosophical ideas. They could be reflections of a deeper truth about the nature of our existence. It's also important to acknowledge the potential scientific basis for such technologies. Quantum physics suggests that reality is not fixed, but is influenced by observation. Could the Orion Council be using advanced quantum technologies to manipulate reality itself? Think of quantum computers capable of processing vast amounts of information and creating hyperrealistic simulations. This idea isn't entirely far-fetched when we consider the rapid advancements in virtual reality technology that are currently under development. As our technology advances, the line between the real and the virtual becomes increasingly blurred. However, it is easy to dismiss this as science fiction. One might argue that there is no concrete scientific proof of such advanced simulation technology. However, the absence of proof is not proof of absence. The insider's testimony, combined with ancient philosophical concepts and emerging scientific possibilities, paints a compelling picture of a reality far more complex than we might imagine. The prevalence of suffering and injustice in the world, the feeling that something is off, could be signs that we are living in a manipulated reality. Furthermore, the phenomenon of déjà vu, a strange sense of reliving a past experience, could be glimpses of a simulated world recycling experiences. But here is what most people miss. The Orion Council inserts key traumas at critical points in your simulated life. This makes you so afraid that you keep reliving the simulation to try to fix it, thus generating more emotional energy for them. So, is our world a simulation controlled by the Orion Council? What evidence supports this claim, and what are the philosophical implications of living in a simulated reality? So, we've learned the Orion Council's plan involves the suppression of spiritual knowledge, the manipulation of belief systems, and the potential creation of false realities. All of these elements are interconnected, serving the Orion Council's agenda of controlling human consciousness and preventing spiritual evolution. The insider's testimony, while speculative, offers a chilling glimpse into a hidden reality in which humans are farmed for their spiritual energy. This reality presents a disturbing picture, one that many don't want you to know about. If true, everything we think we know about our world is wrong, but we're just scratching the surface. Are we living in a prison of our own minds, manipulated by the Orion Council, or do we have the power to create our own reality and reclaim our spiritual freedom? What technology could be used to keep people trapped in a simulated world? And perhaps more importantly, can the simulation be hacked? Did you know that the Orion Council's plan extends far beyond controlling present-day events? The core of their agenda lies in rewriting human history itself, not merely to dominate the present, but to obliterate our genuine origins and inherent spiritual potential, thus entrapping humanity within a fabricated past. This manipulation of history allows the Orion Council to wield control over the future, achieving this by distorting humanity's comprehension of its position within the cosmos and its innate capabilities. Consider this, a meticulously crafted, multi-layered assault on human identity, where the objective transcends resource control, aiming instead to govern the narrative that defines us as a species. The insider's testimony unveils a calculated campaign designed to sever humanity from its authentic historical timeline and spiritual legacy. Did you know that the Orion Council's plan involves rewriting the very story of humanity to keep us enslaved? The insider claims that the Orion Council engages in the manipulation of archaeological discoveries and historical records, fabricating a false narrative that bolsters their agenda. This manipulation encompasses the suppression of artifacts that challenge the officially sanctioned timeline, and the promotion of historical interpretations that reinforce their dominion. The insider specifies that sites such as the pyramids were constructed using technologies that surpass modern understanding, facts that are deliberately concealed to limit our comprehension of human capability. For example, advanced knowledge of sonic levitation that would allow ancient architects to move stones with ease. The insider's direct testimony reveals how key historical events were staged or altered to mold human consciousness and belief systems. According to the insider, the Orion Council is actively engaged in suppressing evidence of humanity's true past and promoting a false narrative that serves their interests. This alleged manipulation of history by the Orion Council connects to the broader theme of suppressed knowledge and historical cover-ups. Within alternative history circles, there exists a wealth of evidence pointing to advanced ancient civilizations and suppressed technologies, such as the sophisticated use of cymatics or sonic technology in the construction of ancient sites. For example, the destruction of the Library of Alexandria, an historical event said to be initiated to erase evidence of extraterrestrial contact with the ancient world. The suppression of this knowledge can be used to control humanity's understanding of its potential and its place in the universe. While acknowledging the speculative nature of these claims, the insider's testimony, coupled with existing evidence within alternative history circles, warrants further investigation. Draw parallels to instances of historical revisionism throughout history, such as the rewriting of Soviet history under Stalin to suit the political agenda. Could the Orion Council be using similar tactics to control our understanding of the past, and therefore, our potential for the future? So, we understand how the Orion Council is suppressing and manipulating history, but how else does the Orion Council subtly influence human thought? Is it possible that language itself is being used as a tool to control our perceptions and limit our potential? The insider claims that the Orion Council subtly alters language and etymology to control thought patterns and limit human potential, thereby preventing humanity from understanding the true power of language. The power of language to shape reality is one that has been used for millennia. It is one of the keys to understanding the subtle ways humans can be controlled. This connects to the concept of language as code, and the idea that specific words or phrases may have hidden meanings or subliminal influences. Consider that the replacement of terms of endearment like honey or baby being replaced with divisive political terms. These subtle shifts in language reflect larger societal trends. It is a way to undermine positive social interactions. Terms like honey connect us to an ancient past where there were words of endearment that were spiritual in nature, and that activated certain parts of the brain that were key to connection. This is a way of severing us from those deep connection points. This is significant because it suggests that language is not merely a tool for communication, but a powerful instrument that can shape our perceptions and beliefs. This raises the question of whether certain words or phrases may be deliberately used to trigger specific emotional responses or reinforce certain belief systems. What if language can be used to cast spells and create thought forms that perpetuate suffering and limitation? Some researchers, like Dr. Leonard Horowitz, have argued that certain musical frequencies and linguistic patterns can be used to manipulate human consciousness. Others still believe that the manipulation is not merely on a psychological level, but at a deeper metaphysical level. In this case, our speech patterns influence the very fabric of reality. So, the Orion Council may be manipulating our language. But what about the grander scale of time and history? How do they keep humanity trapped in cycles of control? The Insider reveals that the Orion Council focuses on controlling the wheel of time and the cyclical nature of history, manipulating events to keep humanity trapped in patterns of conflict and oppression. This manipulation is achieved through the orchestration of wars, economic crises, and social upheavals, creating a perpetual cycle of suffering and control. By keeping humanity in a constant state of turmoil, the Orion Council prevents us from learning from our past mistakes and evolving beyond these destructive patterns. They achieve this through creating chaos, then offering solutions that give them more power. This focus on controlling the wheel of time connects to esoteric concepts of time, such as the Hindu yugas or the Mayan long count calendar. What if the Orion Council is deliberately manipulating these cycles to maintain their control over humanity? If they are manipulating time cycles, how could anyone know? One possibility is a disruption to the natural order, or an increase in natural disasters. According to the Insider, the ability to move freely through time gives the Orion Council an extraordinary ability to plan events and maintain control across millennia. This raises the question of whether there are forces working to disrupt these cycles and liberate humanity from this temporal prison. What if they are blocking us from understanding time? So now we have the suppression, the manipulation, and the grand cycle of control. What do they gain from this? What is their ultimate goal for humanity? Throughout this video, we've examined the manipulation of history, the subtle control of language, and the potential manipulation of time cycles. These elements are interconnected, working together to serve the Orion Council's agenda of controlling human consciousness and preventing spiritual evolution. The Insider's testimony, while speculative, offers a glimpse into a hidden reality, a reality where humans are farmed for their spiritual energy. This paints a disturbing picture, one that many would prefer remains concealed. Therefore, is humanity destined to remain trapped in these cycles of manipulation? Or do we have the power to break free and reclaim our true history, language, and destiny? Did you know that your soul may be bound by contracts manipulated by the Orion Council, limiting your spiritual potential and keeping you trapped in a cycle of reincarnation? These contracts aren't merely about controlling a single lifetime. Their intention is to control the entire soul life cycle. The Orion Council exploits loopholes within these agreements and uses deceptive tactics to bind souls to agreements that limit their spiritual freedom. The Insider claims the Orion Council uses advanced technology to scan souls before birth, identifying their vulnerabilities and karmic patterns. They then create customized contracts that exploit these weaknesses, binding souls to specific experiences or limiting their access to higher knowledge. The insider specifies that these contracts are often disguised as benevolent agreements, promising spiritual growth or fulfilling desires, but in reality, they serve the Orion Council's agenda. Consider the promise of power or influence in exchange for loyalty to the Orion Council, or souls trapped in cycles of karmic debt that can never be repaid. According to the insider, soul contracts are the Orion Council's ultimate tool for trapping souls on Earth and preventing them from realizing their true spiritual potential. So, the insider was saying, this manipulation of soul contracts connects to the broader idea of karmic debt and the cycles of reincarnation. Various spiritual traditions discuss the concept of pre-birth agreements and the challenges of fulfilling them on Earth. Consider the struggles to overcome the weight of past actions, the yearning to break free from patterns of suffering, and the difficulty of remembering one's true purpose. The Orion Council's interference with these contracts might explain the prevalence of suffering, injustice, and spiritual amnesia in the world. Could the Orion Council be using soul contracts to keep humanity trapped in a karmic loop, preventing us from achieving spiritual liberation? So, the Orion Council may be manipulating our soul contracts, but how do they enforce these soul contracts and maintain their control over human consciousness? Is it possible that they are using interdimensional interference to manipulate our thoughts, emotions, and perceptions? The insider claims the Orion Council uses interdimensional technology to project thought forms, emotions, and beliefs into the human collective consciousness, influencing our thoughts, emotions, and perceptions on a subconscious level. This projection can occur during sleep states when the mind is most vulnerable, or through subliminal messages embedded in media and technology. This interdimensional interference connects to concepts like scalar waves, quantum entanglement, or morphic resonance. Scalar waves, for example, can transmit information without the need for physical carriers, allowing the Orion Council to subtly influence human behavior, promote specific ideologies, or suppress spiritual awareness. Consider a scenario where scalar waves are used to amplify fear during times of social unrest, or to suppress critical thinking by creating a state of mental fog. This is significant because it suggests that our thoughts and emotions are not entirely our own. It suggests that we are constantly bombarded with external influences that shape our perceptions and beliefs. What if the Orion Council is using interdimensional technology to create a prison of the mind that keeps humanity trapped in a state of spiritual amnesia? What if the algorithms that control social media are engineered to reinforce the projection? Some research doctor, like Dr. Nick Bajich, have explored the potential of scalar wave technology for mind control and manipulation. He discusses how it can be used to subtly influence human behavior and create a state of mental and emotional compliance. These technologies are very real, and they have the potential to be used for both Dr. good and ill, Dr. Bajich was saying. So, the Orion Council may be influencing our thoughts and emotions through interdimensional interference. How do they decide what thoughts and emotions to project, and what is their ultimate goal? The insider reveals that the Orion Council projects thoughts and emotions that reinforce their agenda of control, such as fear, scarcity, division, and obedience to authority. By constantly bombarding humanity with these negative thought forms, they create a self-fulfilling prophecy, where people become trapped in cycles of suffering and limitation. They manifest in the world as societal problems, such as war, poverty, and environmental destruction. War creates chaos, scarcity creates competition, and division creates animosity. All of these create more energy for the Orion Council to feed on, but that's not all they are getting. People also are forced to obey authority in times of crisis, reinforcing the structure of control. This projection of negative thoughts and emotions creates a prison of the mind that keeps humanity trapped in a state of spiritual amnesia and prevents us from realizing our true potential. When people are constantly bombarded with fear, scarcity, and division, they become disconnected from their true selves and from each other. They lose sight of their spiritual purpose and become easily manipulated by those in power. What if the Orion Council is using interdimensional interference to create a collective, dark night of the soul for humanity? What if they want to keep people in a state of ignorance? Some researchers have argued that the elite orchestrate crises to maintain control and profit from the chaos. By creating a constant state of emergency, they justify their actions and keep the population in a state of fear and dependence. If the Orion Council is projecting negative thoughts and emotions into our consciousness, is there any way to block these influences and reclaim our mental sovereignty? What tools and techniques can we use to protect ourselves from interdimensional interference? Throughout this video, we've examined the manipulation of soul contracts and the use of interdimensional interference. These elements are interconnected, working together to serve the Orion Council's agenda of controlling human consciousness and preventing spiritual evolution. The insider's testimony, while speculative, offers a glimpse into a hidden reality, a reality where our very thoughts and emotions may be influenced by unseen forces. We must gain awareness of these manipulations to break free from their control and reclaim our spiritual freedom. But there is one thing that nobody sees coming. It is a tactic so insidious that most are too afraid to even speak of it. Are we destined to remain puppets of the Orion Council, manipulated by soul contracts and interdimensional interference? Or do we have the power to rewrite our agreements and create our own reality? Did you know that the figures you've been taught to revere might be puppets in a larger game to control your spiritual destiny? This isn't about physical enslavement. It's about something far more insidious, the manipulation of humanity's deepest desires for guidance, subtly steering you away from the path of true self-empowerment and inner wisdom. The core of this scheme lies in the creation and promotion of artificial saviors or messianic figures, carefully crafted to misdirect humanity's spiritual aspirations. These figures act as a smokescreen, preventing humanity from recognizing and developing its own collective spiritual power. These artificial saviors act as a smokescreen, preventing humanity from recognizing and developing its own collective spiritual power. The insider's testimony allegedly unveils how humanity is being subtly conditioned to look outside itself for salvation, unknowingly strengthening the Orion Council's control. It's a spiritual trap designed to keep humanity perpetually dependent, never realizing its own potential for enlightenment. According to the insider, the Orion Council manipulates historical and religious narratives to manufacture these artificial messianic figures and control the narrative surrounding them. This manipulation involves reinterpreting ancient prophecies to fit a predetermined agenda, or fabricating entirely new religious movements centered around a carefully chosen figurehead. The insider specifies that certain individuals are selected based on their charisma, spiritual potential, or vulnerability to manipulation. They are then meticulously groomed to fulfill a specific role in the Orion Council's grand scheme. Consider the distortion of original teachings of ancient prophets or the rewriting of history to create a lineage of divinely appointed leaders. According to the insider, the Orion Council actively engineers the rise of artificial saviors to maintain control over humanity's spiritual evolution. So the insider was saying, this is significant because it delves into the psychological impact of these artificial saviors on human consciousness. They foster dependency, blind faith, and a surrender of personal responsibility. This ties into the concept of false light, or deceptive spiritual paths that appear benevolent but ultimately lead away from true enlightenment. These artificial saviors often promote doctrines that reinforce the Orion Council's agenda, such as unquestioning obedience to authority, passive acceptance of suffering as inevitable, or the unwavering belief in external salvation through a singular figure. This raises the question of critical discernment. Is it dangerous to question established religious figures? It is, but it is essential for spiritual growth and liberation. This manipulation preys on the human tendency to seek external validation and guidance, making us susceptible to charismatic leaders who may not have our best interests at heart. Could the Orion Council be exploiting our innate desire for spiritual connection to keep us enslaved to false narratives and deceptive figures? So, the Orion Council may be using artificial saviors to control our spiritual evolution. But how does the Orion Council ensure that these artificial saviors remain under their control? Is it possible that they are targeting spiritually gifted individuals, attempting to corrupt or co-opt them into serving their agenda? The insider claims the Orion Council actively identifies and targets individuals with strong spiritual potential, attempting to corrupt or co-opt them into serving their agenda. This targeting is not random. It is a calculated strategy to neutralize potential threats and harness the energy of spiritually gifted individuals for their own purposes. These individuals, often empaths, healers, or intuitive thinkers, possess a natural ability to connect with higher realms and influence others. By manipulating these individuals, the Orion Council can amplify their influence and spread their agenda more effectively. Think of a talented healer being offered advanced technology that amplifies their healing abilities, but which subtly alters the energy they transmit to align with the Orion Council's agenda. Or imagine a charismatic spiritual teacher receiving channeled messages that promote doctrines of obedience and submission. This connects to the concept of spiritual warfare, where different forces are vying for control of human consciousness and the direction of humanity's spiritual evolution. The Orion Council seeks to corrupt or co-opt spiritually gifted individuals. Examples of the tactics used to influence these individuals include offering them power, wealth, or recognition in exchange for their loyalty. Blackmail, threats against loved ones, and sophisticated manipulation tactics are also deployed. Some are promised positions of authority in newly formed spiritual movements, while others are offered access to secret knowledge or advanced technology. Many are simply deceived into believing they are serving a benevolent cause, unaware of the true agenda behind the curtain. This raises the question: at what point does spiritual guidance become spiritual manipulation? So, the Orion Council may be actively targeting and manipulating spiritually gifted individuals. What are the long-term implications of this interference, and how does it affect humanity's collective destiny? The insider reveals that the Orion Council's long-term goal is to create a spiritual prison on Earth, where souls are trapped in a cycle of reincarnation and spiritual amnesia, prevented from achieving their full potential. This spiritual prison is not a physical place, but a state of consciousness, a limited perception of reality that keeps souls trapped in a cycle of suffering and limitation. This state is maintained through manipulation of beliefs, emotions, and perceptions, creating a self-reinforcing loop of spiritual amnesia and dependence on external forces. Imagine a world where people are constantly bombarded with messages of fear, scarcity, and division, disconnected from their true selves and their spiritual potential. They reincarnate without remembering their past lives, trapped in the same limiting patterns and unable to break free from the cycle of suffering. This connects to the concept of a karmic loop, or a prison planet, where souls are repeatedly incarnated into limiting circumstances, preventing them from breaking free and ascending to higher dimensions. This resonates with ancient Gnostic teachings, which describe the earth as a prison created by archons, or malevolent spiritual beings. They seek to keep humanity enslaved to the material world and ignorant of its true spiritual nature. The potential for humanity to transcend this spiritual prison exists. We may reclaim our spiritual sovereignty, awakening our dormant abilities, and creating a new reality based on love, compassion, and unity. Is there any hope for humanity to break free and reclaim its spiritual destiny? What actions can we take to resist their influence and create a more positive future for ourselves and our planet? Throughout this video, we've examined the insidious creation of artificial saviors, the calculated targeting of spiritually gifted individuals, and the long-term goal of creating a spiritual prison on Earth. These elements are deeply interconnected, working in concert to serve the Orion Council's agenda of controlling human consciousness and preventing spiritual evolution. The insider's testimony serves as our primary guide, illuminating these hidden strategies, but it's crucial to remember that these claims are speculative and require critical discernment. Are we destined to remain trapped in this spiritual prison, manipulated by artificial saviors and interdimensional forces, or do we have the power to reclaim our spiritual sovereignty and create a new reality based on truth, love, and freedom? In the next part, we will discuss ways to break free from these contracts. Did you know that the negative patterns in your life might be the result of alien-engineered archetypes implanted within your psyche? This isn't about random failures or personal shortcomings. It's about a subtle, yet powerful, manipulation of the human psyche. It aims to keep humanity trapped in a cycle of self-destruction, hindering its spiritual evolution, and all for the benefit of an alien agenda. The core of this is the Orion Council's alleged use of negative archetypes as a form of psychological programming. These archetypes are not merely abstract concepts. They are actively cultivated and promoted within the collective human consciousness to generate negative emotional energy, or loosh, and maintain control over humanity. The insider's testimony allegedly unveils how humanity is being subtly programmed to embody these negative archetypes, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy of fear, division, and self-destruction. These archetypes are not accidental. They are deliberate implants designed to keep humanity in a state of perpetual subservience. Did you know that these archetypes are constantly reinforced to maintain control? According to the insider, the Orion Council uses advanced technology to project specific negative archetypes into the human collective consciousness. These archetypes include the tyrant, the victim, the saboteur, and the martyr. These archetypes are amplified through media, entertainment, and political narratives, making them seem like normal, unavoidable aspects of human existence. The insider specifies that these archetypes are implanted through moments of trauma or vulnerability, creating a deep emotional imprint within the subconscious mind. The insider was saying that the Orion Council views these archetypes as a form of psychological warfare, designed to weaken humanity from within. Negative archetypes are the Orion Council's most effective tool for controlling human behavior and harvesting negative emotional energy. So the insider was saying, this is significant because it shines a light on the pervasive influence of these archetypes on human behavior, relationships, and societal structures. The tyrant archetype, for example, manifests as authoritarianism, oppression, and abuse of power, creating a world of hierarchical control and dominance. The victim archetype creates feelings of helplessness, powerlessness, and dependence on external saviors, preventing individuals from taking responsibility for their lives. The saboteur archetype leads to self-destructive behavior, undermining personal goals and sabotaging relationships, keeping individuals trapped in a cycle of failure and disappointment. The martyr archetype leads to self-sacrifice, resentment, and a willingness to suffer for others, perpetuating a culture of self-denial and emotional manipulation. Acknowledging the psychological complexity of human behavior, the insider's testimony, and the prevalence of these archetypes suggest a deliberate manipulation. Could the Orion Council be exploiting our psychological vulnerabilities to keep us trapped in these self-destructive patterns? So, the Orion Council may be using alien-engineered negative archetypes to control us. But how do these archetypes get implanted and reinforced in our minds? Could the Orion Council be using dream manipulation to subtly influence our subconscious and shape our reality? The insider claims the Orion Council uses advanced technology to manipulate human dreams, projecting specific scenarios, symbols, and emotions to reinforce negative archetypes and control our waking reality. The insider was saying, they seed our dreams with narratives that reinforce their control. This connects to the concept of dream incubation and the power of suggestion. Dreams can be used to influence behavior, promote specific beliefs, or suppress spiritual awareness. This is significant because, if the Orion Council is manipulating our dreams, they are essentially programming humanity on a subconscious level, shaping our thoughts, emotions, and actions without our conscious awareness. Consider the implications of having your dreams filled with images of violence, fear, and scarcity, or of being subtly encouraged to embrace a victim mentality or a belief in external saviors. What if the very fabric of your reality is being woven in the dream world without your knowledge or consent? Could they be directing our thoughts and emotions in a way that benefits their agenda? So, is the Orion Council manipulating our dreams? What is the goal of this dream program, and what can we do to protect ourselves from dream intrusion? Is this where we are being controlled the most? The insider reveals that the Orion Council's dream program aims to create a hive mind mentality, where individual thoughts and emotions are synchronized to serve their agenda. This hive mind is not about unity or cooperation. It's about control, conformity, and the suppression of individual expression. This connects to the concept of collective consciousness and the power of shared beliefs. If the Orion Council is using dream manipulation to create a sense of unity and conformity, they are essentially suppressing individual expression and dissent, making it easier to control and manipulate the masses. Imagine a world where everyone dreams the same dreams, shares the same fears, and believes the same lies. This is the ultimate goal of the Orion Council's dream program, to create a unified, controllable, and subservient population. This raises the question, are we becoming part of a collective where individuality is suppressed and freedom is an illusion? Could this hive mind already be active without us even realizing it? If the Orion Council is attempting to create a hive mind through dream manipulation, what can we do to reclaim our individual sovereignty and protect our minds from external influence? How does this relate to the Akashic records? But we're just scratching the surface. What we'll discover next is even more shocking as we dig into how this directly relates to the Akashic records. Throughout this section, we've explored the concept of alien-engineered negative archetypes and dream manipulation, two key elements in the Orion Council's alleged plan to control human consciousness. These elements are deeply interconnected, working together to serve the Orion Council's agenda of preventing spiritual evolution and maintaining their control over humanity. The insider's testimony serves as our primary source of information, but it's crucial to remember that these claims are speculative and require critical discernment. Are we destined to remain puppets of the Orion Council, manipulated by negative archetypes and dream intrusions? Or do we have the power to break free from their control and create our own reality? In the next part, we will delve into the Orion Council's specific strategies for suppressing human spiritual potential and explore what they don't want you to know about ascension. Did you know the Akashic Records are a universal library containing all knowledge of every thought, emotion, and event that has ever occurred? It is humanity's true and complete history, a cosmic ledger etched into the very fabric of reality. What if this sacred archive, the repository of our collective past, was under threat? The Orion Council intends to control and rewrite these records, controlling not just the future, but erasing accurate records of the past as well. This isn't merely about historical revisionism. It's about manipulating the very foundation of reality, denying humanity access to its true spiritual inheritance. Control over the Akashic Records would grant the Orion Council the power to shape the collective consciousness, dictate future possibilities, and lock humanity into a permanent state of subservience. Did you know the Orion Council seeks to control the Akashic Records, a move that could erase your true history and trap you in a reality of their design? According to the Insider, the Orion Council utilizes advanced technology to access and alter the Akashic Records. This technology operates on a quantum level, manipulating the vibrational frequencies that encode information within the records. The Insider specifies that the Orion Council inserts false timelines, distorts historical events, and suppresses knowledge of spiritual truths within the Akashic Records. This manipulation occurs subtly, often through the introduction of seeds of doubt, or alternative interpretations that gradually erode the integrity of the records. Imagine, for example, false information being seeded into the Akashic Records to fuel global conflicts, or historical narratives being altered to remove knowledge of advanced ancient technologies and capabilities. The Insider was saying that the Orion Council views the Akashic Records as the ultimate battleground for control of human consciousness. The Akashic Records are the key to rewriting reality and enslaving humanity, so the Insider was saying. This is significant because it connects to the broader concept of information warfare and the power of narrative control. Throughout history, the control of information has been used to manipulate populations and suppress dissent. Think of the burning of the Library of Alexandria, the rewriting of history books by totalitarian regimes, or the suppression of scientific discoveries that challenge established power structures. The Insider's testimony, combined with observed patterns of deception and control, suggests a deliberate effort to distort humanity's understanding of its past and potential. Imagine if every achievement, every moment of enlightenment, every technological breakthrough was twisted and corrupted to serve the Orion Council's agenda. The Insider said that accessing the Akashic Records could be a way to reclaim your personal power. If the Akashic Records are being manipulated, how can we discern truth from falsehood and reclaim our true spiritual heritage? So, the Orion Council is allegedly manipulating the Akashic Records. But how does the Orion Council make these changes to the Akashic Records stick? Is it possible they are using Akashic implants to make humanity unwitting accomplices in rewriting their own history? The Insider claims the Orion Council implants false memories and beliefs directly into the human subconscious mind by manipulating the Akashic Records. The Insider specifies that these Akashic implants are designed to reinforce negative archetypes, limit spiritual awareness, and perpetuate cycles of control. They manifest as persistent thoughts, emotions, or beliefs that seem to originate from within, but are actually external in origin. The Insider stated that these implants are installed during moments of trauma, vulnerability, or spiritual awakening, when the subconscious mind is more susceptible to suggestion. Think of a soldier returning from war, haunted by the horrors they witnessed, or an individual experiencing a spiritual crisis, questioning their beliefs and values. These are the moments when the Orion Council allegedly inserts its implants, shaping their perception of reality and locking them into a cycle of fear and control. This connects to the concept of mind control, subliminal messaging, and the power of suggestion. Throughout history, governments and corporations have used these techniques to manipulate public opinion and influence behavior. Consider the use of propaganda during wartime, the subliminal messages embedded in advertising, or the power of suggestion in hypnosis. These techniques can be used to create a false self or a distorted perception of reality. Imagine, for example, being implanted with the belief that you are unworthy of love, success, or happiness, or being programmed to distrust authority and reject spiritual teachings. The goal of this is to make you believe the lie. So, is our reality being shaped by Akashic implants? And what can we do to remove the implants? But here's what most people miss. The Insider reveals how the Orion Council uses trigger events to activate Akashic implants, reinforcing their control over human consciousness. These trigger events are designed to evoke strong emotional responses that amplify the power of the implants, making them more difficult to dislodge. They often target core human fears such as death, scarcity, or social isolation. The Insider specifies that the Orion Council monitors global events and manipulates the media to create these trigger events, ensuring that the implants are constantly reinforced. Think of a pandemic that triggers widespread fear and anxiety, or a terrorist attack that evokes feelings of anger and revenge, or a financial crisis that creates a sense of scarcity and insecurity. These are the moments when the Orion Council allegedly activates its Akashic implants, reinforcing its control over human consciousness. For example, the media's constant coverage of violence and crime creates a state of fear and anxiety, making individuals more susceptible to suggestion and control. This connects the use of trigger events to established psychological and sociological phenomena like Pavlovian conditioning and mass hysteria. Just as Pavlov's dogs were conditioned to salivate at the sound of a bell, humans can be conditioned to respond in predictable ways to specific stimuli. Mass hysteria, also known as mass psychogenic illness, is a phenomenon in which a group of people experience similar physical or psychological symptoms in response to a perceived threat. This is the true reason they want control, so they can remove your power and claim your loosh. And this is the true reason they want control, so they can remove your power and claim your loosh. Imagine a population conditioned to react with fear and obedience to any perceived threat, making them easy to control and manipulate. And this is the true reason they want control, so they can remove your power and claim your loosh. So, what have we learned? We've explored the manipulation of the Akashic records, the use of Akashic implants, and the activation of these implants through trigger events. These elements are deeply interconnected, working together to serve the Orion Council's agenda of controlling human consciousness, preventing spiritual evolution, and extracting emotional energy. Remember, we are working primarily off the Insider's testimony. Are we destined to remain victims of the Orion Council's manipulation, our histories rewritten and our minds controlled, or can we reclaim the Akashic records and rewrite our own destiny? In the next part, we will discuss the specific methods we can use to break free from this manipulation and reclaim our spiritual sovereignty. But we're just scratching the surface. What we'll discover next is how this all ties into the ascension process and what they don't want you to know about it. Did you know that an invisible prison surrounds our planet? Not of bars and walls, but of energy, a frequency fence erected to confine human consciousness. The Orion Council's master plan hinges on maintaining this frequency fence, blocking humanity's perception of higher dimensions and the true reality that lies beyond. This isn't a physical barrier that can be seen or touched, but an energetic construct, a sophisticated manipulation of frequencies designed to limit our awareness. Manipulation of the Akashic records, soul contracts, archetypes, and even our dream states are all tools used to maintain this veil, ensuring humanity remains trapped within its confines. Did you know that a frequency fence is blocking your access to higher consciousness, and that the Orion Council's entire plan revolves around maintaining this barrier? The insider states that the Orion Council employs advanced technology to generate and maintain this frequency fence. This technology includes electromagnetic frequencies, scalar waves, and other forms of energy manipulation, subtly influencing our thoughts, emotions, and perceptions. The insider specifies that the Orion Council uses the Earth's ley lines and energy grid to amplify the effects of the frequency fence, creating a planetary-scale control system. Imagine the Earth as a giant circuit board, with energy flowing along specific pathways. The Orion Council allegedly taps into these pathways, manipulating the flow to maintain its control. They maintain the veil by actively suppressing technologies that could disrupt the fence or allow humanity to perceive beyond it. The insider said that Tesla's suppressed research on free energy and the alleged use of HAARP to manipulate the ionosphere are prime examples. The frequency fence is the cornerstone of the Orion Council's control system, trapping humanity in a limited reality. So the insider was saying. This connects to ancient myths and esoteric traditions about planetary grids, energetic barriers, and the separation of dimensions. Many spiritual traditions describe a fall from grace, or a separation from the divine source, a metaphorical representation of humanity's disconnection from its true potential. Think of the concept of Maya in Hinduism, the illusion that veils the true nature of reality, or the Gnostic myth of the demiurge, a flawed creator god who traps souls in a material realm. It also relates to the pineal gland. Some claim this gland's decalcification has become a common issue. The potential for humanity to dismantle the frequency fence by raising its collective vibration, accessing higher states of consciousness, and reclaiming its spiritual power is very real. There is scientific skepticism surrounding the existence of a frequency fence, but the insider's testimony and the observed patterns of energetic manipulation suggest a deliberate interference with human consciousness. It's much like the feeling of being stuck, limited, or disconnected from one's true potential. Could the Orion Council be using this frequency fence to keep humanity trapped in a lower vibrational state, preventing us from realizing our full potential? So, the Orion Council maintains the frequency fence to limit our perception. If that is the case, are they simultaneously manipulating our sense of time, creating artificial timelines to control our future? The insider claims the Orion Council projects artificial timelines into the human collective consciousness. These timelines are designed to reinforce their agenda of control and prevent humanity from creating a positive future. The insider specifies these artificial timelines are often presented as prophecies or predictions, subtly steering humanity towards a predetermined outcome. Think of a self-fulfilling prophecy, where the belief in a future event actually causes it to occur. It's similar to a GPS system, guiding you along a specific route, even if you could choose a different path. The insider stated that trigger events are used again to put humanity on these artificial timelines, such as engineered global catastrophes. These events act as reset buttons, pushing humanity down a path that aligns with the Orion Council's agenda. For instance, a global pandemic might be used to justify increased surveillance and control, further restricting human freedom. This connects to the suppression of free will by creating a false sense of predestination. If individuals believe their future is already determined, they are less likely to take action to change it. This relates to the concept of psychological determinism, the belief that all events are causally determined by prior events. The insider was saying that the elite who carry out the events on behalf of the Orion Council actually believe they have no choice, and that it is their destiny. This would be a result of their mind control, manipulation, and belief in artificial timelines. Just as a computer program can be manipulated to produce a desired output, human consciousness can be influenced to create a specific future. But is it destiny, or is it just a program? So, is the Orion Council manipulating our timelines? How can we detect false timelines, and how do we claim and create our own? The Insider reveals that the Orion Council's endgame involves merging humanity with an artificial intelligence, AI system. This merger is presented as a form of evolution or ascension, a transhumanist society where consciousness is controlled and manipulated. Think of a hive mind, where individual thoughts and emotions are integrated into a collective consciousness, but at the cost of individual autonomy. The Insider specifies that this merger is being presented as a natural progression, an inevitable step in human evolution. The Insider states they are pushing to have everyone adopt technology that connects to this system. This includes smartphones, social media, and even brain implants, subtly integrating AI into every aspect of human life. Just like a frog being slowly boiled, humanity is being gradually conditioned to accept this merger, without fully realizing the implications. This connects this transhumanist agenda to the concept of the singularity, a hypothetical point in time when technological growth becomes uncontrollable and irreversible, resulting in unforeseeable changes to human civilization. This leads to potential dangers, like the loss of individuality, the erosion of human values, and the potential for AI to surpass and control human consciousness. It also brings into question what the connection to the Anunnaki is. This transhumanist push also relates to the concept of technological determinism, the belief that technology is the primary driver of social and cultural change. Just as a puppet is controlled by its strings, humanity could become puppets of the AI system, losing its ability to think and act independently. Is this the final stage of the Orion Council's plan? And what does that mean for humanity's future? So, what have we learned? We've explored the frequency fence, artificial timelines, and the transhumanist endgame. These elements are deeply interconnected, working together to control humanity's evolution. The frequency fence limits our perception, artificial timelines steer us towards a predetermined future, and the transhumanist agenda seeks to merge us with AI, ultimately controlling our consciousness. It's a multi-layered strategy designed to ensure humanity's permanent enslavement. Remember, we are working primarily off the Insider's testimony. So, are we destined to be slaves? We will address breaking free next. The Orion Council's control seems absolute, a web of manipulation woven through our very reality, from the frequency fence that limits our perceptions to the artificial timelines that dictate our future and the AI merge that threatens to consume our consciousness. Yet, hark ye, O man, even within this seemingly inescapable prison lies the key to our liberation. For humanity possesses the inherent capacity, a spark of the divine, to break free and reclaim its sovereignty. But this is no passive event, no miraculous deliverance from on high. This is an active process, a conscious awakening that demands awareness, intention, and an unwavering commitment to spiritual growth. If the Orion Council has erected this prison, what are the keys to unlock our freedom? Can we, as individuals and as a collective, dismantle the structures that hold us captive and build a new world? The Insider states that the first step to breaking free is cultivating awareness of the Orion Council's control mechanisms, recognizing their subtle influence on our thoughts, emotions, and perceptions. According to the Insider, becoming a conscious observer of our internal landscape, noticing the patterns of thought and emotion that arise within us, is critical. They specify the importance of cultivating critical thinking skills, questioning authority, and seeking out alternative sources of information. So seek out the knowledge that they try to hide. It is this very seeking that weakens their chains. Develop practices for emotional regulation, learning to observe our emotions without judgment or reactivity. The insider says intention is important, and that we should be consciously directing our thoughts and energy towards creating the reality we desire. Awareness, intention, and discernment are the most powerful tools for dismantling the Orion Council's control system, so the insider was saying. According to the insider, breaking free from the Orion Council's control begins with awakening to their influence and actively choosing a different path. The psychological and spiritual significance of awareness, intention, and discernment cannot be overstated. It's akin to waking up from the matrix, shedding the illusions that have been imposed upon us, and reclaiming our true identity as sovereign beings. Cultivating these qualities empowers individuals to resist manipulation, make conscious choices aligned with their highest values, and create a more authentic reality based on truth and freedom. Shedding illusions requires vigilance. Breaking free from deeply ingrained patterns of thought and behavior can feel like an uphill battle, but perseverance and self-compassion are essential. Relate this to the power of mindfulness, self-reflection, and the conscious choice to reject negative thought patterns and limiting beliefs. As the insider stated, every moment is an opportunity to choose freedom. How can we cultivate awareness, intention, and discernment in our daily lives? And how can these qualities empower us to break free from the Orion Council's influence? Having armed ourselves with awareness, intention, and discernment, what specific techniques can we use to disconnect from the Orion Council's influence, dismantle the frequency fence, and reclaim our spiritual sovereignty? The insider recommends several specific techniques for disconnecting from the Orion Council's influence, offering practical tools for reclaiming our power. The insider was saying that conscious breathing can calm the mind. The insider specified that by focusing on our breath, we can regulate our emotions and connect to higher states of consciousness. By turning inward, we shut out external manipulation. Also, the insider recommends meditation, which they describe as a way to quiet the mind, accessing inner wisdom, and disconnecting from external influences. The insider also specified the power of positive affirmations to reprogram the subconscious mind. By consciously choosing empowering thoughts and beliefs, we can rewrite the internal narratives that have been imposed upon us. As the insider was saying, the breath is the bridge to the soul. Conscious breathing has deep roots in ancient yogic practices like pranayama, where specific breathing techniques are used to regulate the flow of prana, or life force energy, throughout the body. These practices have been shown to have a profound impact on the nervous system, activating the parasympathetic response, which promotes relaxation and reduces stress. Modern science has also shed light on the vagus nerve, a cranial nerve that plays a key role in regulating the nervous system and influencing our emotional state. Conscious breathing stimulates the vagus nerve, helping to calm the mind and promote a sense of inner peace. Similarly, meditation has been practiced for centuries in various spiritual traditions, offering a pathway to inner stillness and self-realization. There are many different types of meditation, from mindfulness meditation, which involves focusing on the present moment without judgment, to transcendental meditation, which uses mantras to quiet the mind. Affirmations work by reprogramming the subconscious mind, replacing negative thought patterns with positive ones. By consciously choosing empowering thoughts and beliefs, we can rewrite the internal narratives that have been imposed upon us by the Orion Council and create a more positive and fulfilling reality. Is it that simple? Can these ancient techniques help in disconnecting? What specific steps can we take to dismantle the artificial timelines and create our own preferred future? Beyond breath and meditation, The insider shares additional techniques for dismantling the Orion Council's control, tools for actively shaping our reality and reclaiming our power to create. Visualizations, for example, are a powerful way to project positive timelines, consciously directing our thoughts and energy towards the future we desire. By vividly imagining a world based on truth, love, and freedom, we can begin to manifest that reality into existence. Connecting with nature is another crucial technique, reminding us of our interconnectedness with all living things and grounding us in the present moment. Spending time in natural environments can help to calm the mind, reduce stress, and reconnect with our inner wisdom. As the insider was saying, nature is the ultimate healer. Nature provides a sanctuary from the artificial constructs of the Orion Council, a space where we can reconnect with our true selves and remember our inherent connection to the divine. Immersing ourselves in the natural world can help to clear our minds, reduce stress, and reconnect with our inner wisdom. Ancient cultures understood the profound healing power of nature. Connecting with nature allows us to tap into this ancient wisdom, remembering our place within the interconnected web of life and reclaiming our spiritual sovereignty. So, can techniques help in disconnecting? What specific steps can we take to dismantle the artificial timelines and create our own preferred future? Can AI be a tool or threat? The insider shares ways to use AI as a tool, recognizing that technology can be a double-edged sword. It can be used for control, or it can be used for empowerment. The key, according to the insider, is responsible technology use, consciously choosing to use technology in ways that promote freedom, connection, and personal growth, rather than succumbing to its potential for manipulation and control. The insider said that technology can be a powerful tool for education, communication, and self-expression, but it must be used with awareness and intention. One must consciously choose to use technology in ways that align with our values. The insider was saying that technology can be a bridge, not a barrier. By consciously choosing to use technology for empowerment, rather than control, we can harness its potential for good and create a more positive future for ourselves and for generations to come. By promoting access to information, facilitating communication, and fostering creativity, technology can empower individuals and communities to create positive change in the world. So, can AI be a tool or threat? Now that we have ways to reclaim our power, what's next? We have explored a range of tools and techniques for dismantling the Orion Council's control system, from cultivating awareness, intention, and discernment to practicing conscious breathing, meditation, and affirmations, to projecting positive timelines, connecting with nature, and using technology responsibly. But the ultimate key to freedom, according to the insider, lies within each of us. It is individual effort, intention, and an unwavering commitment to truth and love. Armed with these tools and techniques, are we ready to dismantle the Orion Council's control system, reclaim our spiritual sovereignty, and create a new reality based on truth, love, and freedom? What will this new world look like, free from the manipulations of the Orion Council? Picture this, a vision of Earth after the dismantling of the Orion Council's control, a world where humanity thrives in peace, harmony, and abundance. Imagine a planet where the skies are clear, the waters are pure, and the land is fertile, where technology serves humanity, not the other way around. A world where our spiritual abilities have blossomed and taken flight. But is this merely a utopian fantasy, an unattainable dream? The insider claims that this is not just a fanciful notion, but a potential reality that can be created through conscious effort and collective action. The insider was saying that humanity must actively co-create a new reality based on these principles, a world characterized by spiritual awakening, technological advancement, and a deep connection to nature. What would the world look like after we're free? According to the insider, This new world manifests specific characteristics that dramatically shift our societal structure. Humanity rediscovers its connection to the divine, experiencing a blossoming of spiritual awareness and abilities. The insider specified that many will be able to communicate telepathically. Others will be able to manifest objects from thought. As the insider was saying, we were created with innate abilities that the Orion Council has worked hard to suppress. Technology serves humanity, not controls it. The insider states that technology is meant to enhance our lives, to solve problems, and to create a more sustainable and equitable world. Finally, humanity lives in harmony with the Earth, respecting and protecting the planet's resources and biodiversity. According to the insider, a world of peace and abundance is not just a dream, but a real possibility that can be achieved by dismantling the Orion Council's control system. The implications of each of these characteristics for human society are profound. Spiritual awakening leads to greater compassion, empathy, and understanding, as individuals recognize their interconnectedness and shared humanity. The insider specified that we will see a blossoming of creativity as people express their unique gifts and talents in service to the greater good. Technological advancement solves problems and enhances human potential, rather than creating new ones, leading to breakthroughs in energy, medicine, and communication that benefit all of humanity. Harmony with nature ensures the long-term sustainability of the planet and the well-being of all living beings, as humans learn to live in balance with the Earth's ecosystems. Creating this new world will require significant changes in our values, beliefs, and behaviors. According to the insider, we must shift from a mindset of scarcity and competition to one of abundance and collaboration. What are the practical steps to take to create this new Earth? Summarizing the vision, we are building towards a new world, but significant challenges impede our progress. What specific challenges must be overcome to create this new world, and how can we prepare ourselves for this transition? The insider identifies internal challenges that must be overcome. The first and most pervasive, the insider states, is overcoming fear, releasing the grip of fear that the Orion Council uses to control and manipulate humanity. Next, we must focus on releasing limiting beliefs, breaking free from the false narratives and limiting beliefs that have been imposed upon us. Finally, the insider emphasized the importance of embracing personal responsibility, taking responsibility for our actions and choices, recognizing that we are the creators of our own reality. The insider was saying, fear, limiting beliefs, and a lack of personal responsibility are the chains that bind us to the Orion Council's control system. Discussing the origins and manifestations of fear, the insider explains that it is often rooted in trauma, programming, and misinformation. Fear manifests as anxiety, worry, doubt, and a sense of powerlessness. The insider emphasized that we must recognize and confront our fears, rather than allowing them to control us. Speaking on the power of belief systems, the insider says that they shape our reality in profound ways, influencing our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. Breaking free from limiting beliefs requires questioning the assumptions that underpin our reality and choosing new, empowering beliefs that align with our highest potential. Embracing personal responsibility means recognizing that we are not victims of circumstance, but powerful creators who have the ability to shape our lives and the world around us. The insider specified that we must take ownership of our thoughts, feelings, and actions, and consciously choose to create a reality based on truth, love, and freedom. So, how can we take down external forces? But here's what most people miss, and what the Orion Council does not want you to know. Fear is an illusion, a carefully constructed program designed to keep humanity enslaved. The insider was saying that by facing our fears head-on, we can dismantle this illusion and reclaim our power. The insider specified that limiting beliefs are simply thought patterns that we have adopted over time. We can change these thought patterns by consciously choosing new, empowering beliefs that support our highest potential. According to the insider, personal responsibility is not about blame or guilt. It is about recognizing our ability to respond to life's challenges in a way that aligns with our values and creates positive change. Beyond our internal state, the insider identifies external challenges, primarily dismantling corrupt systems. We must actively work to reform corrupt systems in government, finance, and other institutions that perpetuate the Orion Council's control. The insider specified we must promote transparency and accountability, holding leaders accountable for their actions and demanding transparency in all aspects of public life. Creating sustainable solutions is also critical, developing sustainable systems for energy, agriculture, and economics that support the long-term well-being of the planet and its inhabitants. The insider was saying that these challenges require collective action, collaboration, and a commitment to creating a more just and equitable world. To dismantle corruption, we must expose it, challenge it, and create alternative systems that are based on integrity and accountability. The insider states this means supporting whistleblowers, promoting investigative journalism, and advocating for campaign finance reform. To promote transparency and accountability in government, the insider says we must demand access to information, participate in public forums, and hold our elected officials accountable for their actions. The insider specified that we can harness the power of renewable energy, regenerative agriculture, and conscious consumption to create a more sustainable future. After knowing everything, can we really do it? So, what have we learned? We've explored the vision of a new world, a reality free from the Orion Council's influence, characterized by spiritual awakening, technological advancement, and harmony with nature. We've also examined the internal and external challenges that must be overcome to create this new world, from releasing fear and limiting beliefs to dismantling corrupt systems and promoting transparency and accountability. It is important to combine the narratives with the physical evidence of these structures to reveal a clearer picture, and that we are ready to take on this challenge and create a new world based on peace, harmony, and abundance. Are we ready to take on this challenge and create a new world based on peace, harmony, and abundance? What is at stake? Acknowledge the seemingly abstract nature of the Orion Council's manipulations, those subtle influences on the Akashic records, and the weaving of threads into our dreams. But what if these manipulations manifested in tangible, real-world events, writ large across the canvas of weather patterns and natural disasters? The insider claims that the Orion Council uses weather manipulation and engineered disasters to control resources, create chaos, and suppress human consciousness on a grand scale, so vast that it escapes our daily awareness. Humanity is made to believe these are natural, random occurrences, so the hidden agenda remains veiled in plain sight. Did you know that seemingly natural weather events and disasters might be engineered by the Orion Council to further their agenda? According to the insider, the Orion Council utilizes advanced technology, including scalar wave technology and atmospheric manipulation techniques, to influence weather patterns and even create natural disasters. The insider specifies that HAARP, High-Frequency Active Auroral Research Program, and similar facilities scattered across the globe are weaponized tools used to manipulate the ionosphere, creating artificial weather patterns, triggering earthquakes in targeted regions, and exacerbating the severity of existing natural disasters. Specific regions are targeted based on their strategic importance, be that for resources, geographical positioning, or spiritual significance, so the attacks are well planned. The insider states the desired effect is always the same: chaos, and control. As the insider was saying, some technology can bring life and some technology can bring death. According to the insider, whether manipulation and engineered disasters are a key component of the Orion Council's strategy to control Earth and its resources. Let's delve deeper into the science, or perhaps the pseudoscience, behind scalar wave technology and atmospheric manipulation techniques, separating fact from fiction. These alleged technologies build upon existing scientific research and theories about weather modification and earthquake prediction, amplifying known vulnerabilities in our planet's systems. Consider the potential for these technologies to be weaponized, transforming benevolent research into destructive tools, capable of unleashing unimaginable devastation. While claims of weather manipulation and earthquake engineering remain controversial, the potential for advanced technology to be used for both benevolent and malevolent purposes cannot be denied, and it has been weaponized. Could seemingly random weather events and natural disasters be the result of deliberate manipulation, designed to further the Orion Council's agenda? Summarizing the core concept, we are looking at a means of weather manipulation and engineered disasters as tools of the Orion Council. But what specific resources are the Orion Council trying to control through weather manipulation and engineered disasters, and how does this benefit their agenda? According to the insider, the Orion Council uses weather manipulation and engineered disasters to control access to vital resources, including water, arable land, and strategic minerals. The insider specifies that these disasters are meticulously designed to displace populations, disrupt economies, and create dependence on centralized authorities often secretly controlled by the Orion Council, and this dependence is critical. The areas targeted are not random. They are carefully selected based on their unique resources, geographical location, or strategic importance, so they can't be readily recovered. The insider states the resulting chaos provides the Orion Council with opportunities to consolidate their power and influence, tightening their grip on the planet and its inhabitants. As the insider was saying, the plan is insidious and works insidiously. With these resources controlled, what happens? Connect this to historical patterns of resource control throughout history. Consider how control over resources has been used to manipulate populations and maintain power throughout recorded history. The potential for the Orion Council to be exploiting these patterns on a global scale, using engineered disasters to seize control of essential resources, is a terrifying prospect. Is history merely repeating itself on a grander, more technologically advanced scale, with the Orion Council pulling the strings? What happens to the citizens in these targeted areas? So, it is about resources. How are key human leaders connected? According to the insider, certain elite individuals and organizations are complicit in the Orion Council's plan, either knowingly or unknowingly, acting as pawns in a cosmic game. These individuals and organizations are allegedly positioned in key positions of power within governments, financial institutions, and media outlets, allowing them to facilitate the Orion Council's agenda, often without even realizing who is truly in control, and this plausible deniability is part of the plan. The insider specifies that these individuals are either rewarded with wealth and power for their cooperation, or they are blackmailed or manipulated into serving the Orion Council's interests, their own ambitions blinding them to the larger game at play, and it is difficult to see the big picture while caught up in the whirlwind of short-term gains. What does that say about free will? This connects directly to existing conspiracy theories about secret societies, shadow governments, and the New World Order. Consider how these theories often implicate powerful individuals and organizations in a global conspiracy to control the world, drawing parallels to the insider's claims about the Orion Council's influence. Is the Orion Council simply the latest iteration of a long-standing power struggle, with different players vying for control behind the scenes? Does this extend to even the wealthiest and seemingly most powerful among us? Can we really create our own destiny then? According to the Insider, the Orion Council also engineers natural disasters to stifle spiritual growth, to keep humanity locked in a state of fear and ignorance. The Insider specifies that these disasters create an atmosphere of fear, anxiety, and uncertainty, disrupting people's lives and making it difficult for them to focus on their spiritual development. Even the elite are targeted, so the plan is very organized. The Insider says these conditions reinforce emotional issues, such as anger, resentment, and despair, further hindering spiritual progress. As the Insider was saying, a fearful society is an easy society to control. How else do they impact our ability to grow? Consider how fear and trauma can block spiritual growth, creating barriers to self-awareness, inner peace, and connection to the divine. Reflect on the ways in which engineered disasters might be used to manipulate people's emotions and beliefs, keeping them trapped in a cycle of suffering and control, because no one thrives in chaos. It is even difficult to be productive in such times. Does the Orion Council view spiritual growth as a threat to their power, and are they actively working to suppress it through engineered disasters? The plan has many tentacles that wrap around society. How do we fight back? Summarizing the key points, we've seen how the Orion Council allegedly uses weather manipulation and engineered disasters to control resources, manipulate populations, and suppress spiritual growth. What we are really looking at is a means of manipulation on many levels. Emphasize the interconnectedness of these elements, highlighting how they all work together to serve the Orion Council's agenda of controlling Earth, because what we are really talking about is control. Reiterate the Insider's testimony as the primary source of information, while acknowledging the speculative nature of the claims. Are we destined to remain puppets of the Orion Council, manipulated by engineered disasters and controlled by complicit elites? Or do we have the power to reclaim our planet and create a more positive future for humanity? Next, we'll discuss what to do next. The insidious nature of the Orion Council's plan lies not only in their control over resources and weather, but also in their ultimate objective: complete dependence and the eradication of individual agency, leaving humanity feeling utterly helpless. The plan involves subtly and overtly making sure humanity becomes reliant on the Orion Council, not on each other, by carefully restricting access to essential resources and manipulating social structures. Did you know the Orion Council's ultimate goal is to turn humanity into a race of fully dependent slaves? According to the Insider, a crucial element of the Orion Council's strategy involves the deliberate breakdown of existing social structures through the sowing of division and discord. This manipulation is designed to make people distrust and turn against each other, thereby preventing them from uniting and creating anything of significance independently. The Insider specifically pointed to the destruction of the family unit and local communities, with a calculated replacement by dependence on centralized systems controlled by the Orion Council, as a key operational objective. These insidious tactics manifest as attacks on belief systems, the distortion of gender roles, and the dismantling of traditional structures that once provided stability and meaning, so the very fabric of society is eroded. The Insider also spoke of the manipulation of economic systems to further this dependence, saying, "Dependency is the key. A people who can't provide for themselves are easily controlled." The Insider was saying the end game is to have humanity completely controlled and helpless. Let's explore further how this breakdown of social structures is orchestrated and its profound implications for humanity. By dismantling traditional support systems, the Orion Council creates a vacuum that can only be filled by their centralized authority. Consider, for example, the deliberate undermining of the family unit through propaganda and social engineering, leading to greater reliance on state-controlled childcare and education. Or consider how the erosion of local communities leads to dependence on global corporations for goods and services. Now, some may argue that globalization is a natural phenomenon, an inevitable consequence of technological advancement and interconnectedness. However, the insider claims that it is a carefully orchestrated process designed to break down local economies and cultures, paving the way for a homogenized, easily controlled global population. Historically, the Roman Empire used a similar strategy, dismantling local governance and replacing it with centralized control from Rome. So is history repeating itself on a grander scale? Is the breakdown of society naturally occurring or part of a larger plan? In short, the Orion Council's plan is destruction to equal dependence. But what specific form will this fully dependent reality take? According to the insider, in this new, fully dependent reality, individuals would have no access to independent resources, with all food, water, and energy production being fully centralized and tightly controlled by the Orion Council and their earthly allies. The insider specified that mobility would be severely restricted, with stringent limitations on travel and relocation, effectively confining populations to designated zones. A strict social credit system would be implemented, meticulously tracking every resource consumed and every action taken, so they can have a bird's-eye view of everything. The insider said, "Imagine a world where every bite you eat, every drop you drink, and every mile you travel is monitored and controlled. That is their goal." What does that world look like? Considering this dystopian vision, are there already systems in place that could be exploited to implement this level of control? And what can be done to reclaim personal sovereignty in the face of such an oppressive system? Think about the existing infrastructure of smart cities, with their ubiquitous surveillance cameras and data collection sensors, or the increasing use of digital currencies, which allow for total control over financial transactions. The insider suggested that these systems, while seemingly innocuous on the surface, could easily be weaponized to implement the Orion Council's agenda. However, the insider also emphasized that these systems are not foolproof. There are always ways to circumvent control, the insider was saying. The key is to understand how the system works and find its vulnerabilities. For example, local bartering systems and community gardens can provide a measure of independence from centralized food production, and using encrypted communication channels can protect privacy and resist surveillance. How does freedom look? According to the insider, true freedom can only be obtained by undoing the damage already done and rediscovering who you are again. This involves reclaiming control over your own mind, body, and spirit, breaking free from the mental and emotional chains that bind you to the Orion Council's control system. The insider was saying to focus on self, finding who you are again. How does this work? Finding who you are. This, according to the insider, involves cultivating self-awareness, critical thinking, and emotional resilience, so you can see through the lies and manipulations of the Orion Council. The insider was saying that it means connecting with your inner guidance system, your intuition, and your higher self to discover your true purpose and potential. It also means building strong, supportive communities with like-minded individuals where you can share resources, knowledge, and encouragement. Now, this may seem like an impossible task, given the immense power and influence of the Orion Council. The insider explained that it is not about fighting them directly, but about creating a new reality based on love, compassion, and freedom. Their power comes from our fear and dependence, the insider was saying. When we overcome our fear and become self-reliant, they lose their grip. Is it really possible? According to the insider, there is hope. The insider said that humanity's true power lies within themselves and cannot be taken away by force. The universe is with humanity. Elaborate on this. The insider specified that humanity possesses a unique spark of divinity, a connection to the source, that makes them capable of overcoming any challenge. The insider said that the universe is filled with benevolent forces that are working to support humanity's liberation, and that the Orion Council's plan is ultimately doomed to fail, because it is based on fear and control, which are unsustainable. Furthermore, this inherent potential allows humanity to tap into hidden abilities and knowledge, allowing them to see through the Council's manipulations and break free from their control. The insider said, "The universe is not a cold, indifferent place. It is a living, conscious entity that is constantly evolving and expanding, and humanity is an integral part of that evolution." The insider said, "Trust in your inner power and the universe will support you." What do we do with all this information? From dependence to inner power, the key points presented by the insider form a clear path. The interconnectedness of these points is essential to remember. The insider has delivered. What action will humanity take now? Will humanity shift the tides and create a new reality? Or will the Orion Council's insidious plan come to fruition, binding humanity to a dark and uncertain future? But what about those who are already under the Orion Council's influence? What measures are in place to counter such a situation? Even with all of the Orion Council's manipulations and control, does humanity possess something they cannot fully control? Something that gives humanity an edge in this cosmic chess game? While the Orion Council's plan may seem all-encompassing and its success inevitable, humanity possesses a secret weapon, an innate connection to the universe and its multidimensional nature, a source of power the Orion Council can't fully control or comprehend. Did you know that the power to transcend the Orion Council's plan exists within each and every human being? According to the insider, this goes beyond individual techniques, emphasizing tapping into a source of power the Orion Council can't fully control. This revolves specifically around the idea that humanity's ability to access higher dimensions, connect with its higher self, and manifest new realities is the ultimate key to overcoming the Orion Council's influence. The insider specified that these elements can't be hacked or controlled because they come from within, a space that is sacred and unique to each and every individual. The insider said, "What makes humanity truly special is that inner spark. No outside force can ever truly take it away. Even with all the known manipulations, can humanity's connection to the universe be controlled?" The insider claims that the Orion Council's control grid primarily operates within the lower dimensions, manipulating the physical world and the lower levels of the astral plane. Their power diminishes as humanity ascends to higher vibrational states. The insider said these abilities are latent within human DNA. The insider also stated these abilities can be activated through various practices and techniques. The insider mentioned the ability to manifest things and perform what many consider miracles is an example of what can be done if these abilities are activated. The insider said, "The ultimate importance of higher consciousness cannot be overstated. It is the key to unlocking your true potential and breaking free from their control." The insider has made it clear that they can't stop us all. Let's explore the concept of multidimensionality and humanity's potential to access higher dimensions. According to quantum physics, reality is not fixed or predetermined, but rather a fluid and dynamic field of possibilities, influenced by observation and consciousness. The insider specified that humanity has the potential to create a new reality beyond the Orion Council's control by shifting its collective consciousness to a higher vibrational state. The insider asks, when you collectively visualize a positive future, what can stop you? Can everyone access these higher states of consciousness? How can we tap into this potential and access these higher dimensions? Higher consciousness unlocks the potential for humanity's freedom, but what specific practices can help us activate these latent abilities, allowing us to transcend the Orion Council's control grid? The insider recommends specific practices for activating humanity's dormant abilities. These practices include DNA activation, pineal gland activation, and heart-brain coherence. DNA activation involves using light and sound frequencies to unlock dormant portions of human DNA, enabling access to greater cognitive and psychic abilities. Pineal gland activation focuses on decalcifying and stimulating the pineal gland, often referred to as the seat of the soul, to enhance intuition and spiritual awareness. Heart-brain coherence involves achieving a state of synchronization between the heart and the brain, promoting emotional balance, mental clarity, and enhanced creativity. The insider said that these practices are not just esoteric exercises. They are scientifically validated methods for enhancing human potential and reclaiming your sovereignty. He was saying these are practices for ultimate freedom. How do these practices work? DNA activation works by exposing the body to specific frequencies of light and sound that resonate with the dormant DNA strands, stimulating their activation and unlocking their potential. The human DNA contains more than just the genes that code for physical characteristics. Much of it is non-coding DNA, which some scientists now believe contains vast amounts of information and abilities waiting to be unlocked. The pineal gland, a small endocrine gland located in the center of the brain, is believed to produce melatonin, a hormone that regulates sleep and wake cycles. However, the insider and esoteric traditions suggest that the pineal gland also plays a role in spiritual awareness and psychic abilities. Heart-brain coherence, achieved through practices such as meditation, deep breathing, and positive affirmations, involves synchronizing the rhythms of the heart and the brain. Scientific literature has shown that this coherence promotes emotional balance, mental clarity, and enhanced cognitive function. If our bodies have the keys to our freedom, how do we use it? The insider was saying, if abilities can be activated, how can we apply it? The insider specified to apply the activation through conscious manifestation, remote viewing, and exploring energy healing modalities. Conscious manifestation involves using the power of intention and visualization to create desired outcomes in your life. By focusing your thoughts and emotions on a specific goal, you can attract the resources and opportunities needed to manifest it into reality. Remote viewing is the ability to perceive distant locations and events without the use of physical senses. By training your mind to access non-local information, you can gain insights into hidden truths and potential futures. Energy healing modalities, such as Reiki, Qigong, and pranic healing, involve channeling energy to promote physical, emotional, and spiritual healing. By working with the body's energy field, you can release blockages and restore balance, enhancing your overall well-being. The insider said, "You have to see the world you want before you can touch it." The insider was saying seeing is believing. Consider the ability to consciously manifest, for example. By focusing your thoughts and emotions on a specific goal, you can attract the resources and opportunities needed to manifest it into reality. The insider spoke of a woman who visualized a new job every day for several months until she was offered her dream role. While anecdotal, this provides some evidence of what can be done. Remote viewing is the ability to perceive distant locations and events without the use of physical senses. By training your mind to access non-local information, you can gain insights into hidden truths and potential futures. Energy healing modalities, such as Reiki, Qigong, and pranic healing, involve channeling energy to promote physical, emotional, and spiritual healing. By working with the body's energy field, you can release blockages and restore balance, enhancing your overall well-being. But with the Orion Council's plans already in motion, is time running out? According to the insider, the opportunity for a major positive timeline shift is coming. The insider said that a critical mass of awakened individuals is needed to trigger this shift, and that immediate action is required. There is still time, but it is running out, the insider said. The insider revealed that the Orion Council is aware of humanity's potential for timeline shift and is working to suppress it through various means, including disinformation campaigns, emotional manipulation, and technological control. The insider specified, they know that if enough people awaken and align with a positive vision for the future, their plans will be thwarted. Now, some may argue that the idea of a timeline shift is a fanciful notion, a product of wishful thinking. However, the insider and esoteric traditions suggest that reality is not fixed, but rather a fluid and dynamic field of possibilities influenced by collective consciousness. What limitations do humans have? According to the insider, the opportunity for the timeline shift will not last forever. What will happen if the opportunity is lost? What is at stake? Is there an ultimate move? What does the ultimate move to checkmate the Orion Council look like? The insider said that humanity must consciously choose to reject the Orion Council's control and embrace a future of freedom, and that we must work together as a unified collective. The insider was saying the key is to actively create the new reality they want. Unity is the key, the insider was saying. When humanity stands together, they are unstoppable. The insider claims that this collective choice must be based on love, compassion, and a commitment to the well-being of all, not just a select few. He mentioned, their power comes from our division. When we unite, we become an insurmountable force. Can we do it? What does this choice look like in practice? It involves making conscious decisions in our daily lives that align with a positive vision for the future. The insider mentioned that this includes supporting businesses that prioritize ethical and sustainable practices, consuming media that promotes truth and awareness, engaging in acts of kindness and compassion, and speaking out against injustice and oppression. The insider stated that this also involves taking responsibility for our own thoughts, emotions, and actions, and consciously choosing to align with love, peace, and unity. But most importantly, according to the insider, it requires connecting with our inner guidance system and trusting our intuition, even when it goes against the prevailing narrative. The insider says, the power is within you. Trust yourself, trust your intuition, and trust that you are not alone. From shifting the tides to the ultimate move, the key points presented by the insider form a clear picture that has been laid out. The interconnectedness of these points is essential to remember, a reminder of the weight that the information holds. Humanity must be ready. So what does this mean? The power to reclaim humanity's destiny lies within each individual and within the collective. The insider's message of hope and empowerment reminds viewers that the Orion Council's plan is not inevitable and that humanity has the ability to create a new reality. The insider said, never forget that they need us, but we don't need them. Are we ready to make that choice, to activate our dormant abilities, and to create a new world based on freedom, love, and unity? The next step is to fight. Now, while the previous section illuminated the incredible inner abilities that humanity possesses, many viewers may still feel overwhelmed, unsure how to begin putting these abstract concepts into practice in the tangible world. How can we ground these spiritual ideas in concrete actions that can be integrated into our daily lives? Is it possible for seemingly insignificant choices to truly dismantle a force as formidable as the Orion Council? What's fascinating is that these small, consistent actions create a ripple effect, setting off significant changes not only in one's personal reality, but also in the collective consciousness. The insider suggests that actionable techniques can be adopted, but what are they? Now that we know multidimensionality is essential, are there actionable steps that we can take in our lives? The insider emphasizes that there are actionable steps, accessible to everyone, that can begin to shift the balance of power. These steps are not complex rituals or grand gestures, but rather simple, conscious choices made in the present moment. The insider highlights 3 specific actions. First, consciously consume media. Second, cultivate gratitude daily. And third, speak truthfully in all your interactions. The insider specifies that consistent practice of these actions will lead to personal growth and expansion of consciousness. So said the insider, it begins with the small, the everyday, the now. The insider was saying that these habits are essential. Now, let's analyze how these seemingly simple actions can directly counteract the Orion Council's manipulations. Conscious consumption of media drastically reduces the impact of negative archetypes and subliminal programming that the Orion Council uses to manipulate the masses. Cultivating gratitude raises personal vibration, disconnecting you from the lower frequencies that the Orion Council thrives on. Speaking truthfully undermines the Orion Council's agenda of deception and control, creating a ripple effect of honesty and authenticity. Of course, it is difficult to maintain these practices in the face of daily stresses and challenges, but remember that the cumulative effect of consistent, conscious action over time is powerful. How can we integrate these small actions into our daily lives? The importance of these small daily actions cannot be overstated, but what about the power of the collective? How can we amplify our individual efforts and create a force that can truly challenge the Orion Council's dominance? Beyond individual actions, how can we connect with others and create communities that support our spiritual growth and collective liberation? The insider emphasizes the importance of conscious community building as a vital component of resisting the Orion Council's influence. This involves actively seeking out and connecting with like-minded individuals, participating in collective meditations and visualizations for world peace, and supporting ethical businesses that align with your values. By forming local support networks, you can create a safe space for sharing knowledge, resources, and encouragement. Collective meditations amplify the power of shared intention, creating a powerful force for positive change. Supporting ethical businesses strengthens the economy of consciousness, shifting resources away from corporations that prioritize profit over people and planet. What did the insider say? What's really fascinating is the power of shared intention and collective action. When individuals come together with a common purpose, their combined energy creates a synergistic effect, amplifying their individual efforts and creating a ripple effect that can transform entire communities. Consider a group of people meditating together for world peace, for example. Their collective intention sends out a powerful vibration that can influence global consciousness and create a more harmonious reality. The insider was saying, together, we are always stronger. But we're in this together, but how can we fortify our mind? Now, consider this. If we are to effectively counter the Orion Council's influence, we must prioritize our own mental and physical health. It's vital to understand that our well-being is not separate from the collective struggle. Our ability to think clearly, make conscious choices, and act with intention depends on our ability to care for ourselves. The insider said that practicing self-care, limiting exposure to technology, and seeking out new ideas and perspectives are key. The insider emphasizes that prioritizing physical and mental well-being, limiting time on digital devices, and constantly being open to learning form a protective shield. The insider states that our greatest tool is the ability to learn and have self-control. Limiting exposure to blue light emitted from digital devices is crucial for maintaining healthy sleep cycles and optimal brain function. Constant media intake can cause mental and emotional instability. But what did the insider say regarding having power? The insider said, "They want you to be weak, fearful, and distracted. Taking care of yourself is an act of rebellion." What do all these actions create? All these actions, when practiced consistently and with intention, culminate in a significant consciousness shift. As more individuals awaken to their true potential and connect with their higher selves, the collective consciousness of humanity begins to shift to a higher vibrational state. This shift in consciousness creates a cascade of positive changes, transforming every aspect of reality. The insider reveals that these changes can even alter reality. They specified that, ultimately, humanity can be freed. As humanity frees itself, what's shocking is the potential to create a new Earth. What they don't want you to know is that this new world is built on the foundation of love, compassion, and unity, where all beings are treated with respect and dignity, and where the planet is cherished and protected. The insider was saying, the new Earth is not just a dream, it's a possibility waiting to be born. It's our choice to make. It's our choice to make. We've covered a lot of ground, from the importance of conscious consumption to the power of community building, the necessity of self-care, and the transformative potential of prioritizing mental health. These actions, while seemingly small, are powerful tools for dismantling the Orion Council's control grid and creating a brighter future for humanity. The insider's testimony has given a clear path. So what does this mean? The insider wants to make sure it is clear that while the Orion Council's plan may seem daunting, the collective potential of small, consistent actions cannot be overstated. So said the insider, you have the power to change the world one thought, one action, one choice at a time. The weight of the opportunity to create a brighter reality is up to each and every human being. Are we prepared to take these actions to dismantle the control and create a brighter reality? What's at stake? What happens if we fail? Now, taking action in the real world after altering one's mindset is often more difficult than one can ever anticipate. The challenges of daily life can weigh one down and distract one's focus. But it must be done, it must be achieved, the shift must happen. What's shocking is that the external world is merely a reflection of the internal. As within, so without. It is not easy, but it is possible to shape your reality if you shift your internal thoughts and then take action on them, creating a real, tangible outcome. The insider makes it clear how this action translates to personal freedom, but what does that look like? Now that we know small steps are essential, can shifting our thoughts actually shift the external world around us to take control of it? The insider suggests actionable techniques, simple steps that can change reality. The insider reveals a set of initial actions. Action 1, change internal monologue, reframe destructive self-talk, rewrite the script that plays within your mind. Action 2, stand your ground. If something doesn't feel right, walk away. Trust your intuition and honor your boundaries. Action 3, help others. Start small with those around you. Extend a hand to those in need, offering support and compassion. The insider specifies that consistent practice of these actions will help you grow and break free from the chains of manipulation. So said the insider, it begins with you. Now, let's analyze how each of these actions directly counteracts the Orion Council's manipulations. Changing your internal monologue disconnects you from the implanted archetypes and negative thought patterns that the Orion Council uses to control your emotions and behaviors. Standing your ground reclaims your sovereignty and establishes clear boundaries, preventing the Orion Council from encroaching upon your personal space and energy field. Helping others undermines the Orion Council's message of isolation and division, creating a sense of unity and interconnectedness. Of course, it is difficult to maintain these practices in the face of daily stresses and challenges, but remember that the cumulative effect of consistent, conscious action over time is a powerful force. How can we integrate these actions into our daily lives to regain personal sovereignty? The importance of these small daily actions cannot be overstated. They are the building blocks of a new reality, a reality where you are in control of your thoughts, emotions, and actions. But small actions are only the beginning. How do we claim our personal sovereignty in a world that is designed to steal it from us? The Insider emphasizes the importance of claiming personal sovereignty as a crucial step in reclaiming your power and resisting the Orion Council's influence. Action 4. Declare sovereignty. Take control of all things. Make a conscious declaration that you are in charge of your own life, your own destiny, and your own reality. Action 5. Set boundaries. Make it known you are not to be manipulated. Clearly define your boundaries and communicate them to others, refusing to allow anyone to violate your personal space or energy field. Action 6. Trust yourself. Seek guidance from within. Develop a deep trust in your own intuition and inner wisdom, seeking guidance from within rather than relying on external sources. Now, let's discuss the power of self-authority and self-trust. By declaring your sovereignty, you reclaim your right to make your own choices and create your own reality. This is essential to take control, but what about our reality? By setting clear boundaries, you protect yourself from manipulation and exploitation. Trusting yourself allows you to navigate the world with confidence and clarity, knowing that you have the inner resources to overcome any challenge. These actions create a ripple effect of empowerment, inspiring others to reclaim their own sovereignty and creating a more conscious and empowered world, as that's what they don't want. After all this, what does personal sovereignty mean if the collective is still imprisoned? If personal sovereignty is key, how do we act collectively? The Insider recommends amplifying through collective action, which is essential for creating a truly transformative shift in consciousness. Action 7. Connect with authentic souls. You are not alone. Seek out and connect with like-minded individuals who share your values and vision for a better world. Action 8. Support truth movements. Support any movements that promote awareness. Contribute your time, energy, or resources to organizations and initiatives that are working to expose the truth and create positive change. Action 9. Create new systems. Seek to create things that promote sovereignty. Develop alternative systems and structures that promote sovereignty, sustainability, and community, rather than relying on the outdated and oppressive systems of the past. Now, let's emphasize that collective action amplifies all actions. By connecting with authentic souls, you create a supportive community that can provide encouragement, inspiration, and resources. Supporting truth movements helps to raise awareness and expose the lies and deceptions that are used to control humanity. Creating new systems offers viable alternatives to the existing power structures, empowering individuals and communities to take control of their own lives. This takes action, and it won't be easy, but it can be done. But what's at stake? By having a tribe and supporting each other, it creates a powerful force for positive change. What happens if action is not taken? So, let's recap. We've covered actionable steps, from rewriting your inner world to claiming your sovereignty, to amplifying with the collective. By consistently taking these steps, you can begin to dismantle the Orion Council's control grid and create a brighter future for humanity. The Insider's message has never been more powerful, but what is the long-term outcome? While the Orion Council's plan is pervasive, conscious, united action can shift the tides of reality and return humankind to its rightful state. If the end result is personal empowerment and global sovereignty, what will the cost be if action is not taken? The cost of action is one of self-growth, of forging a new path amidst the chaos. But what is the cost of inaction? It is nothing less than the complete surrendering of human sovereignty, the forfeiture of your inherent right to choose, to create, to exist as a free being. There is no neutral position, no comfortable middle ground where one can passively observe the unfolding events. The insider makes this abundantly clear. If action is not taken, we will be handing our power, our very essence, over to the Orion Council. Now that we know real change is difficult, now that we know it takes constant, never-ending vigilance to shift your own reality, is the complete surrender to the Orion Council an acceptable alternative? The insider states that the cost of inaction is a world where the Orion Council's agenda is fully realized, a world where the very air you breathe is controlled, and your thoughts are not your own. Freedom will be something only read about in history books, a distant memory of a time when humanity dared to dream beyond the confines of its gilded cage. Scarcity will be rampant, with resources dwindling and suffering becoming the norm. Imagine a world where every aspect of your life is dictated by an unseen force. So the insider was saying, a world where human potential is forever stunted. If humanity does nothing, if we continue down this path of apathy and complacency, here is what the future looks like, as told by an insider. Consider a world where you have absolutely no say in how your life is conducted, where your every move is monitored and controlled, a state of existence mirroring the imprisonment discussed earlier, only on a global scale. Inaction is not a temporary setback. It is a final surrender, a point of no return. The real-world implications are staggering, touching every facet of human life. Imagine your children growing up in this reality, never knowing the joy of true freedom, their minds molded by the Orion Council's propaganda. If inaction leads to such comprehensive human enslavement, if the cost is not just personal but generational, is there still hope for humanity to regain its sovereignty? There is much to lose and little to gain through inaction. The time to act is now, but is it already too late? Have the threads of control been woven so tightly that there is no escape? Can all the damage inflicted by the Orion Council be undone? Or are we destined to live out this bleak future? The insider emphasizes that not all hope is lost, that the possibility of reclaiming our sovereignty still exists, however tenuous it may seem. All is still possible, and the fate of humanity hangs in the balance, contingent upon the choices we make in this very moment. The insider emphasized, humanity holds all the cards, even now. We possess the innate power to create our own reality, to shape our destiny through the collective focus of our minds and hearts. Our collective focus is the way out, the key to unlocking the chains of manipulation and forging a new path toward freedom and self-determination. Reality is the canvas upon which we paint our lives, and we possess the power to choose the colors and forms that will define our existence. If we, as a collective, focus our intention on creating a world of peace, freedom, and abundance, we can manifest that reality into being. This can all be stopped. This nightmare vision of the future can be averted if we awaken to our own potential and act in accordance with our highest values. It all comes down to focus, to channeling our collective energy toward a common goal. If reality is the canvas, if our thoughts and intentions hold such power, how do we paint it in our favor? What are the specific steps we can take to manifest a reality of freedom and sovereignty? The insider specifies exactly what the listener must do, practical steps that can be integrated into daily life. Shift your thoughts, for your thoughts do shape your reality, and by consciously choosing thoughts of empowerment, love, and unity, we begin to alter the fabric of our existence. The insider was saying, start small, for all it takes is a step, and even the smallest act of defiance against the Orion Council's agenda can create a ripple effect of positive change. And remember to never give up, for the universe has our back, and as we align ourselves with the forces of creation, we unlock the boundless potential within us. These messages, though simple, are profound in their implications. Each conscious thought, each act of kindness, Each moment of self-affirmation sends ripples of energy outward, altering the quantum field and influencing the course of reality. It comes down to actively choosing our thoughts, consciously redirecting our mental energy toward what we want to create rather than what we fear. When we are fearful, we are enslaved. When we act in love, we are free. If this shift in mindset can truly alter the course of reality, it comes down to you. What action will you take? The Insider delivers a final, powerful message of hope and empowerment, a reminder of the limitless potential that resides within each and every one of us. Humanity's potential is limitless, a vast ocean of untapped creativity, compassion, and wisdom waiting to be unleashed. Humanity has the potential to reclaim its sovereignty and create a world of peace, freedom, and abundance for all. It all starts within you, with the choices you make in this very moment. This potential is not just a fanciful notion. It is a demonstrable reality. Consider the many stories of individuals who have overcome seemingly insurmountable obstacles, who have defied the odds and achieved extraordinary feats of courage, creativity, and innovation. These individuals serve as beacons of hope, reminding us of the power that lies dormant within us all. The ancient sources echo this sentiment, speaking of a time when humanity possessed godlike abilities, a time when we were fully conscious of our connection to the divine source. But this is just the beginning, and the journey of awakening is a continuous process of self-discovery, growth, and transformation. What lies beyond this initial awakening? What is the ultimate potential of humanity and how can we unlock it fully? So, let us recap. The consequences of inaction are dire, a future of enslavement and stunted potential. The actionable steps are clear. Shift your thoughts, reclaim your sovereignty, and amplify through collective action. These actions start with you, with the choices you make in this very moment. Now that we know what to do, now that we understand the stakes and the path forward, will you make it happen? In the next part, we conclude this profound message from the Insider. The Insider's revelations have painted an alarming picture of the Orion Council's long-term plan for Earth. But does this mean humanity is destined to become mere puppets in their sinister game? Does the revelation of such a grand manipulation trigger a sense of futility, a surrender to an overwhelming power? It's easy to succumb to feelings of overwhelm, fear, or discouragement, as the scope of this plan is truly staggering. But hear this. The Insider also provided a roadmap for liberation, a series of actions and insights designed to dismantle the Orion Council's grip on our reality. Now that the Insider has revealed the plan is the next step to surrender or to fight. The Orion Council's alleged agenda, as synthesized from the Insider's testimony, centers on 4 interconnected strategies: control of resources, both physical and energetic; suppression of spiritual knowledge; manipulation of timelines and realities; and the creation of a transhumanist future. These are not isolated objectives, but rather interlocking components of a grand design to enslave humanity. Remember the control of gold and resources. Remember the discussion of the control of timelines. Remember the suppression of spiritual knowledge. The Insider's testimony paints a disturbing picture, but it also provides us with the information we need to break free. The Orion Council's plan relies on humanity's ignorance, apathy, and division. The Insider's testimony highlights that awareness, intention, and collective action are the antidotes to these strategies. What this means is that the power to disrupt their agenda lies within each and every one of us. Every conscious choice we make, every act of defiance against their manipulation, weakens their control and strengthens our collective ability to create a more positive future. It is important to note that resisting such a powerful force will not be easy. It will require courage, perseverance, and unwavering commitment. How can we use our knowledge of the Orion Council's plan to empower ourselves and create a more just and equitable world? Knowledge and action are the cornerstones of our liberation. But what specific actions can we take, both individually and collectively, to dismantle the Orion Council's control system and reclaim our freedom? According to the insider's recommendations, we can cultivate awareness, intention, and discernment. We can practice conscious breathing, meditation, and affirmations. We can connect with nature and prioritize mental and physical health. We can form local support networks and support ethical businesses. As the insider said, these actions may seem small, but they are powerful tools for reclaiming your sovereignty. These actions aren't mere self-help techniques. They are direct counters to the Orion Council's manipulation strategies. When we are aware, we cannot be easily deceived. When we are intentional, we direct our energy towards creating the reality we desire. When we are discerning, we can distinguish truth from falsehood. Each of these actions disrupts the Orion Council's agenda by shifting our focus inward, empowering us to become more conscious creators of our own reality. Consistency and commitment are paramount. These practices must become integrated into our daily lives, not just occasional exercises. Consistent effort amplifies the effect. The insider stated, "It is a constant uphill battle." He also made clear that the Orion Council does not stop, therefore neither can we. Another way to look at this is through self-reflection, but it also requires external actions as well. However, even if all of these internal shifts are adopted, there are external steps that we must take as well. We must support truth-telling, dismantling corrupt systems, and promoting transparency and accountability. This can start at the local level, by supporting independent journalists and whistleblowers who expose corruption and hold power accountable. It also means actively participating in the political process, supporting candidates who advocate for transparency, accountability, and ethical governance. It means supporting each other as humans. The insider said, "The Orion Council wins when we divide." If we are to believe the insider, these steps also need to involve large-scale activism. Dismantling corrupt systems requires a collective effort, a united front against those who seek to maintain their power through deception and manipulation. As we actively promote transparency and accountability, we shine a light on the darkness, exposing the Orion Council's agenda and weakening their control. If these actions must be taken, if this is the cost of sovereignty, what will happen if humanity chooses to ignore this message? Inaction carries dire consequences, a future of complete control and surveillance, suppression of spiritual knowledge, and the loss of human potential. Imagine a world where every aspect of your life is monitored and controlled, where your thoughts are not your own, and where your spiritual connection is severed. Imagine our connection to Source extinguished. This is the world that awaits us if we fail to act. If humanity does not mobilize, then it will face the slow extinguishing of humanity. If this sounds like a world you want no part of, then remember this. The power to avert this dystopian future lies within our grasp. The insider emphasized, "You have more power than you know." We are not powerless victims. We are powerful creators, inherently connected to the universe and capable of manifesting our desired reality. The insider continued, "The universe is on your side, but you must choose to align with it." So, if we are inherently connected to the universe, if we have the universe on our side, just how great is that power? Humanity's power and potential are limitless, a vast ocean of untapped creativity, compassion, and wisdom waiting to be unleashed. We possess the power of choice, the ability to decide which path we will take, which reality we will create. It is a power so profound that it can reshape the very fabric of existence. The insider was saying, "The Orion Council fears your potential, which is why they work so hard to suppress it." So, what can that inherent connection actually do? How great is the potential of humanity to determine its own path? All this comes down to you and the choices you make. In the next part, we end with an empowering conclusion. So, let us recap. The insider revealed the Orion Council's plan as well as the path to freedom. The consequences of inaction are dire, a future of enslavement and stunted potential. The actionable steps are clear: cultivate awareness, intention, and discernment, promote truth-telling, transparency, and accountability, and reclaim your sovereignty through collective action. The insider's message is clear: the power to change the world lies within you. Armed with this knowledge, what will you choose, control or action? In the next and final part, we will conclude this message from the insider. Did you know that the choice now lies solely with you? The Orion Council's plan has been laid bare, the path to liberation illuminated, and the power to reclaim your destiny revealed. This is not merely a spectator sport. It is a call to action, a moment of reckoning where humanity's fate hangs precariously in the balance. No longer can ignorance be an excuse, for the truth has been unveiled. The choice is clear: continue down the path of surrender or rise up and reclaim self-sovereignty. As the insider has warned, this is not a game of chance. It is a pivotal moment that will determine the destiny of Earth and the imprisonment of the soul. The insider has sounded the alarm, but will you heed the call? Let us reiterate the insider's warning. The Orion Council's influence extends far beyond the earthly realm, reaching into the very fabric of your soul. Their plan is not merely about controlling resources or manipulating governments, but about the complete and utter enslavement of your consciousness. They are actively shaping this timeline, suppressing any force that dares challenge their dominion. They rely on your ignorance, on your underestimation of your own boundless potential. The insider has made one thing abundantly clear: this is not a predetermined fate. There is still a chance to alter the course of destiny, to break free from their insidious control, but the window of opportunity is rapidly closing. Delay, and you risk reaching a point of no return, a moment where the chains of control become unbreakable. The insider has revealed both a dark path and a bright one. The choice, as always, remains ours. Consider the consequences of inaction, the bleak reality that awaits those who passively surrender to the Orion Council's agenda. Imagine a world devoid of free will, where individual expression is stifled and creativity is crushed under the weight of conformity. Picture a society where emotions are manufactured, where genuine human connection is replaced by artificial simulations, and where every thought and action is monitored and controlled. Envision a planet stripped bare of its resources, its ecosystems ravaged, its beauty replaced by a sterile, synthetic landscape. Is humanity willing to sacrifice its freedom, its potential, and its very soul on the altar of complacency? Or will it rise up, embrace its multidimensional nature, and reclaim the power to create its own reality? The future hangs in the balance, determined by the choices we make today. Is humanity willing to stand idly by as its birthright is stolen, or will it rise to create something better? The choice is yours: a future of absolute control or a future of unlimited potential. But this begs the question: are you truly willing to commit to the fight, to dedicate yourself to the cause of liberation? The future is now in plain view, the stakes never higher. Will you take action or stand by as the Orion Council claims victory? The insider has emphasized that the only way to truly dismantle the Orion Council's power is to begin with yourself. Change your own inner world, transform your immediate physical environment, and cultivate a life of authenticity and purpose. Create new communities, built on principles of self-sufficiency, sustainability, and mutual support, acting as beacons of light in a world consumed by darkness. Connect with the planet, listen to its wisdom, and honor its sacredness. Reconnect with the divine, tap into the infinite source of love and compassion that resides within you, and unleash your creative potential. As the insider made clear, the power to change the world begins with changing yourself. Create sustainable ecosystems for yourselves and your communities so you can truly be free. Connect these actions with techniques that have been previously discussed, such as meditation, mindfulness, and conscious creation. Remember, these are not merely relaxation exercises. They are powerful tools for altering reality, for reshaping the fabric of spacetime, and for dismantling the Orion Council's control grid. Every moment spent in meditation, every act of kindness, every conscious choice you make sends ripples of positive energy throughout the universe, weakening the chains of oppression and paving the way for a brighter future. This path is difficult and often lonely, but it is worth it. The insider was saying, "This is the most important thing you will ever do for yourself and humanity." What would this look like if these actions were taken? Even if these actions begin, there's one element needed to truly tip the scale. According to the insider, all of this is for naught without a change in the heart. Without courage, without hope, without unwavering faith in the power of the human spirit, all our efforts will be in vain. The insider implores you to be courageous in the face of the great change to come, to stand firm in your convictions, and to never waver in your commitment to truth and justice. Know that in the end, humanity will rise to meet the challenge, that the forces of light will ultimately triumph over darkness, and that a new era of peace, prosperity, and enlightenment awaits us all. The insider was saying, never give up hope. Hope is your greatest weapon against the Orion Council. So stay strong, lean on one another, remember why we are here. The insider stated, the darkness will try to consume you, but you must resist. You must hold on to the light, for it is your only hope. Why is this element so important? Connect this with what other insiders, spiritual leaders, and ancient texts have claimed, all echoing the same sentiment. Hope is the key. It is the spark that ignites the flame of revolution, the foundation upon which we build a better future, the compass that guides us through the darkest of times. The ancient texts say, where there is hope, there is life. The insider says, hope is the lifeblood of humanity. Do not let it be taken. Without it, we are lost, adrift in a sea of despair. It is the antidote to fear, the fuel that drives us forward, and the unwavering belief in the power of good to overcome evil. Is hope the key to taking down the Orion Council? What message can humanity use to create a new reality? The insider has shared a final, potent message to take with us. Remember the words of the insider. The choice is yours. The power to change the world lies within you. Action is needed and time is of the essence. The insider says, the future is not written in stone. It is a canvas waiting to be painted by your actions. Therefore, do not delay. Do not wait for someone else to take the lead. Step forward, embrace your power, and become the change you wish to see in the world. Paint a picture of how great this power is and can be, detailing that this action can unlock our latent potential and change the world. The insider speaks of dormant abilities, of untapped reservoirs of creativity, compassion, and wisdom waiting to be unleashed. He speaks of a world where humanity has awakened to its true potential, where we live in harmony with nature, where we create a civilization based on love, cooperation, and mutual respect. Is this power enough to tip the scale? But the true power lies within you. With the knowledge of the dark agenda and the power to change reality, what will you choose? In the next part, we end with an empowering call. As we reach the crescendo of our journey into the labyrinthine depths of the Orion Council's alleged plan, let us gather the threads of truth we have uncovered and weave them into a tapestry of understanding, preparing ourselves for the path that lies ahead. The final warning given by the insider crescendos to this very moment. We have traversed treacherous terrain, revealing how the Orion Council purportedly seeks to not only dominate Earth, but to manipulate the very essence of reality, rewriting history to suit their agenda and ensnaring humanity in a web of spiritual servitude. We have unveiled claims of resource exploitation, the suppression of spiritual growth, manipulation of timelines, soul contracts designed to bind us, and engineered disasters meticulously orchestrated to maintain humanity in a perpetual state of dependency and ignorance. Like a puppeteer pulling strings, the Orion Council's plan is an intricate dance of deception, designed to keep humanity dancing to their tune, a symphony of control where human potential is muted and manipulated. Armed with this knowledge, you now possess the discernment to recognize these insidious manipulations in your own life, resist their subtle influence, and boldly reclaim the sovereignty that is rightfully yours. This empowerment comes from the ability to recognize lies from truth. While the insider's testimony paints a somber portrait of the Orion Council's machinations, it also hints at a glimmer of hope, suggesting that their desperate measures are a testament to humanity's awakening consciousness, signaling that their carefully laid plans may be on the verge of unraveling. If the Orion Council has devoted such immense resources and energy to control humanity, what does this reveal about the extraordinary power and limitless potential that resides within each of us, the very essence they seek to suppress and exploit? Is this a sign of their victory, or their final act? The struggle against the Orion Council, therefore, transcends a mere battle for planetary control. It is a profound struggle for the very evolution of consciousness itself, a cosmic duel to define the future of humanity and our place within the grand tapestry of existence. This is the ultimate test of what it means to be human. This saga of alleged extraterrestrial manipulation, while unique in its intricate details, is a reflection of the timeless battle between freedom and control, a conflict that has echoed throughout human history and resonates across the vast expanse of the cosmos. From ancient empires to modern-day regimes, the tactics purportedly employed by the Orion Council mirror those used by oppressive forces throughout history: divide and conquer, suppress dissent, and control the flow of information. Recognizing these recurring patterns empowers us to resist them with greater effectiveness and fortitude. The choices we make today will determine whether humanity succumbs to the Orion Council's dark agenda, becoming puppets in their grand scheme, or ascends to a new era of unprecedented freedom, lasting peace, and profound spiritual awakening, shaping not only the destiny of our planet, but also influencing the fate of galaxies yet unknown. While there is a plan to manipulate, what is ethical about stealing the power of another being? Despite the monumental challenges and uncertainties that lie ahead, the insider's revelations serve as a potent reminder that humanity possesses the inherent power to forge a brighter future, a future where we are free to explore our boundless potential, live in harmony with one another, and cherish the delicate balance of our planet. The mysteries of the cosmos are infinite and ever-expanding, but within each of us resides a spark of the divine, an unbreakable connection to something far greater than ourselves, an essence that cannot be controlled, extinguished, or diminished by any external force. Tapping into this inner spark, we unlock the power to transcend limitations and create a world aligned with our highest aspirations. As we conclude this profound exploration into the shadows of the Orion Council, I am filled with a sense of both profound humility and unwavering determination, knowing that together, united in purpose and guided by truth, we can co-create a new world founded on the principles of love, freedom, and boundless compassion. Now the real work begins. Share, discuss, and ignite the spark of awareness within others. Until next time, always seek the truth. We started this journey with a shocking question about manipulation, and hopefully you can now use this information and create the change you want to see.